welcome to Grand Pitch Thoughts, the video game to movie fancast podcast, with Dan, Brett, and Dave. This podcast will contain detailed plot points and spoilers about numerous video games and movies, both old and new, so listener discretion is advised. And don't forget to rate and review the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or wherever you download your podcasts from. And feel free to get in touch with us on Instagram and Twitter at GPTSPod and on Facebook at Grand Pitch Thoughts. What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 20 of Grand Pitch Thoughts. I am your host, as always, Dan Hewitt, joined by Brett Amer.
Hello.
And David Adamson.
Even in the middle seat, I'm second there. Hello.
a bit like David Adamson.
Number one.
As always, this is a show where we talk about the latest video game and movie news for the first half, and then the second half we do our best to try and adapt a video game into a movie. Let's start with with some housekeeping. So it's been a while since we've last got together. So Brett, have you been up to anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually decided. Well, I say invest, but I didn't. I got the free trial of the.
That's not an investment.
No, it's a future investment. I got the free trial of the Xbox, the Game Pass, the one where you pay the $7.99 a month, and you get like basically unlimited.
Is this the old games, the retro games?
It's not. No, it's not. There's actually a lot of new games. Forza Horizon 4, which came out a couple of weeks ago, is on there.
So what is it? Is it like PlayStation Plus as well, and then you also get like old games as well?
It's a Game Pass.
Yeah, so you get your free games every week, and then there's I think there must be more than 200 games.
And doesn't it rotate?
I think that they add new ones all the time. It's kind of like Netflix.
Yes.
Right. But then obviously once you've downloaded one, it's yours to keep as long as you've got Xbox Gold.
And your free trial, is that a month long?
It's 2 weeks long. So I'm about a week and a half into it.
Well, I was going to say, because the PlayStation has the PlayStation Now, which is PS3, PS2 games, and you pay $7.99 I think a month, and you get a 2 week free trial as well.
So I think that it's pretty much that.
But you get nothing new, so you've got to get the Plus, you get the new games, and you've got to get PlayStation Now to get the old games. But that sounds like you're getting both.
So it's exactly that. So you're getting a lot of 360 games. There's a lot of Xbox One games.
So what's the gold thing then?
That is just where you get the 2 free games a month
to play online.
Oh, to play online, right? So it's sort of similar. So it sounds like you've got a better version of the PlayStation. You've got PlayStation Now, but you're also getting new games on top of the other new games.
Is Sea of Thieves still on there?
It is, yeah.
I wouldn't mind playing.
That looks so good.
So you need to play it with people, surely.
Yeah, and the YouTube videos when they're like, "Oh no, it's a megalodon."
If we do, I've still got half a week left of me trial. I'll probably carry it on.
Do you have to? Do you still have to install everything, download them all, or can you?
It still needs to download. Yeah, it's not like a streaming thing. But mind you, because I've got about half a week left. I was planning to get it again at the end of the month after I get paid, but Burger King are doing a thing at the minute where if you get one of their box meal things.
Burger King.
Yeah. Burger King.
This week's episode of Grand Pitch Thoughts brought to you by Burger King.
If you've got one of the box meal things for like $4.99, you get a week of Game Pass.
Really?
So you get 7 days of Game Pass if you buy one.
And it's true that you've just had
a
a heart attack after all those burgers you've been getting.
So you could just get a whole lot of codes.
So you can get your free trial, and then you can buy a load of Burger Kings, and then you can get you can keep it free all the 7 days worth.
What's a Burger King, like a Happy Meal?
I think they were £4 or £5, but it's like you get a burger, chips, and a drink,
and a heart attack.
In
6 months' time,
if you want. But I'm not sure how long the promotion's going to be going for. So you might have to check on the details on whether you can save up the codes or not. But apparently, it doesn't matter if you've used the free trial; you can still use it, and you can still use it again and again.
Right.
So I was thinking after I've used my free trial, I'll stop it for a bit, get myself a Burger King for a couple of weeks, and then when I get paid, pay for the actual Game Pass.
Well, you're gonna spend £5 or £6 to get a week free when it's £7 a month.
Yeah, because then you get Burger King as well.
But it's only 24 quid for the sake of 7.
No, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Oh, I'm sorry, 12. That's a good idea.
But then if I get Burger King for me and Joanne, that's me sorted for the next 2 weeks.
And he's in the good books, mate.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I've got a full belly.
Everyone knows ladies that love Burger King. The Muck Whopper or whatever it's called.
The thing is, I might be forced to buy. I might be forced to buy like 20 chili cheese bites as well. She might make us buy 20 chili cheese bites as well, so it might end up more expensive. But then I've had chili cheese bites. So.
And then when she gets home, she'll get the Blackwater.
I didn't hear it before. I did not get that reception. I'm sorry.
David, have you been to Burger King recently?
No.
But anyway, so with the Game Pass, what I should have been doing is blasting a load of different games. What I did do, I played about 2 hours of Resident Evil, which I've played like a million times before.
Which one?
The first one.
Oh, OG.
Well, the remake.
Remaster, yeah.
Then I played about 2 hours of Dead Island, which I've also played and completed.
Oh, yes.
But then I...
we used to play that, didn't we?
Yeah. I've been blasting, like, considering a couple of months ago I didn't really play many games at all. I've been getting right back into, mainly because of this podcast. I've played Fallout 4 about 5 or 6 hours a day since last week because of this Game Pass thing. I've been absolutely hammering
that's
it.
on there as well, right?
Yeah, and it's brilliant. It's so good. I've always knew it was good, but it's like, I think it's the best game I've ever played.
You're crazy, idiot.
Really?
I didn't realise opinions were illegal on this fucking podcast.
You know that opinions are acceptable, but wrong.
It's absolutely brilliant, man. It's so much fun. You can just play it for hours on end. I don't even mind listening to the same 7 songs over and over again.
Oh yeah, I remember the music being really terrible.
Yeah, I love the music. It's great, but it's just there should be more. There should be like you shouldn't have to listen to 60-Minute Man from the 50s.
Oh god, yeah.
Like about 3 times an hour.
Well, that Fallout 76 advert is John Denver, take me home, and I think it's just going to be like it's every time you go past a camp, it's going to be, here, countryman. You're like, oh my god, turn this off.
Well, they're not making any new music then, are they? In the apocalypse.
No,
well, you think they would?
No, that's the thing. It's meant to be his leftover records from back in the day.
Star-Lord.
So he's got his radio program,
Star-Lord.
but it's just one.
It
guy.
is like Star-Lord, Dan.
I guess it's the same universe.
There's not many people with electricity and stuff there, so you know they haven't really got the technology to recording the music. They've just got the records from back in the day.
Mm-hmm. His little tape player.
Little tape player.
It's actually a radio station that you tune into, but it's the guy basically plays the same records over and over again.
Oh yeah,
he's only got 6.
Yeah.
Yes,
It makes it feel so much more
and
real.
then different areas you go in, sometimes you get ones that's just like it's just like a warning system where there's nothing, there's no music playing. And
there's one where it's the Silver Shroud where it basically tells the story of the Silver Shroud.
The Silver Shroud.
Like the comic book character.
I remember that.
Do they acknowledge that you see he's only got 6 records and that's why?
I think he might have done in Fallout 3. But now it's like, you should know this by now.
Is it supposed to be taking place after that game or another vault opens or something?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a different vault.
But it's the same kind
It's not the same character.
No, but it's the same world, effectively.
Same world, but it can be in a completely different time. I know this one is it's set 200 years after the event, after the war. Because she was frozen for 200 years and then she gets let out. I'll not sit here and tell the story, but it's brilliant. It's absolutely class. Really enjoyed it. And I think I'm just going to carry on playing that until my Game Pass runs out.
Happy days.
Well, we haven't really got long left, have we, to fill the gap between playing whatever you can and then Red Dead coming out?
That's right. So we've, as of today, it is 12 days.
But this is what I got this Game Pass for, because I thought I'll have the free trial for a couple of weeks. And then I won't need it after that because it's going to fill that gap.
But then it's so good that
now it's the best game.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm torn. Now I'm just going to have to go and get some Burger Kings. But no, it's as soon as Red Dead 2 gets through that letterbox, Fallout 4's going off.
Yeah, true. I've just got a whole load of work in, so it comes and then I'm at work away for 3 days afterwards. So I've been begging Jess to try and install it.
I was going to say, you just leave that on.
Please. I'm just getting in after a 5-day stretch where you know it's at home and then having to do a 100 gig download.
Yeah. I was going to say,
Jesus,
I'm going to be absolutely fuming because it's going to be like that thing of like, you get it on Friday, you're at work, you get home whatever o'clock, and then it's going to start downloading at like 4, and then you're going to get through Friday night, Saturday, and then you're going to get the back end of Sunday, it'll probably pop on, and then people will be like, oh, so did you get that new game on Friday? And you'll be like, yeah. I saw the title screen. I picked my difficulty.
Well, what I'm hoping is, because sometimes when you do pre-orders, sometimes it comes a day or two early.
I can get mine. Well, I've got a digital pre-order to get all the bonuses.
Yours comes
mine comes I can download it at 1 second past midnight, so I'm going to leave it on overnight.
But I thought, doesn't it get to you a day or two earlier than the actual release day as well?
No, it's literally 1 second past
Is it?
midnight. Yeah, it's got a countdown for us. Which
It's
is
irrelevant because his internet's absolutely terrible. So
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
still
yeah.
have it
Oh,
before
yeah.
he does.
It's
I'll
like-
probably have it before he does.
it's going to be
Let me
like
wait.
40 hours before it's like you can now like turn it on.
Because I'm hoping it comes the day beforehand. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a half day in at work, and if it comes on the Thursday, I'm going to start it downloading on the Thursday, and hopefully by the time I get home at 1 o'clock on the Friday, it'll be sorted. And then I would have actually been worth.
You're going to leave it on for 24 hours.
Otherwise, you're
Yeah.
going to do a half day and then sit and watch the download.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Although
that's
because
hard, that, innit?
taking the
That's hard.
half day will be completely pointless if it doesn't get here on the Thursday.
I was saying something on that Unilad gaming, and it was like oh, you need to time your activities other than playing computer games. It's like I do, and it was the download bar. It's like 45 minutes left. It's like that's enough time to do all the cleaning, change my clothes, wash everything.
Excellent.
Which is pretty much what I'll be doing. I'm set it away at midnight. Wake up at whatever o'clock, check and see where it is.
Yeah.
Which will probably be probably about 150 hours left,
Yeah.
and then I'll probably have to leave it on overnight
His house is gonna be
again.
immaculate.
And I'll just be like, I'll have seen like every drip of porn on the internet. It's just like, why was this past the time?
Why do you say it like that?
That drip is such a...
I'm sure. I thought a collective of porn was called a drip.
a murder of crows and
Yeah.
a drip of porn.
Yeah, exactly.
It's absolutely disgusting. Isn't it?
Many drips of porn.
That blanket's just got a whole lot hotter. I'm sure. So
There's a lot less room under here.
Turn it into a
something's
tent.
pulling it away from me. So pretty much is that a way of saying that you haven't played anything?
Well, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I had to send some parts of me Switch off for repair,
Oh yeah.
and I got them back on Friday. It was only the power cable, and one of the Joy-Cons was calibrated wrong, so it was pulling off to the right,
Oh dear.
which was a nightmare on Mario Kart. I mean, I still won because I'm,
Because you're a Mac.
the king.
Mac Daddy.
The king. But yeah, so I got them back, and I thought I've been playing that Mario and Rabbids again, which is that
Oh yeah.
XCOM thing, and it's absolutely wicked. Like the music's insane as well. And I played this boss which I was up to, which was in like the horror stage, and he's like a rabbit fused together with a old like kind of when they've got like it looks like a big trumpet, but it plays little records. A big trumpet comes.
Well, it's like a gramophone.
Yeah,
Something
is
like
that
that.
right?
I think it is.
Yeah.
It's a gramophone or a parlophone or something, one of the two.
And the,
It's definitely a gramophone.
Yeah.
I don't know if the trunk is called the
Yeah.
gramophone.
Yeah.
so one of the rabbits gets fused with a gramophone or whatever,
Yeah.
and the booze, the ghosts, and becomes this huge like ghostly opera singer. But they've wrote a proper score for it. The score in the whole game's brilliant, but they've wrote a score and like an opera that he sings about Mario, like proper ripping it to shreds. It's really good.
I love the effort that they put into these things.
This one's particularly
Rabbits
they put
things,
a lot
it's
into
always
it.
great.
Are they? I've never played any of the other Rabbit things.
They're always like
Mm.
to do. There's a
Are
lot
they-
of unexpected things thrown in, and it's like
Yeah.
they put some effort into this.
Yeah.
like,
The rabbits have a TV show and everything, which I think is
Are
quite
they-
funny.
Are they from Rayman originally? And they've,
they are.
they've just
Yeah, but they're
spun
not
off-
from like Rayman, as in like those games. Is like I think Rayman had like a game on the Wii.
It was called Rayman Rabbids or something.
Yeah, and that's where they turned
So-
up from.
But that's where they started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I
And
think
from there,
and then they
it's
made that.
snowballed.
Then they got their own bits and pieces on the Wii, and then I think obviously because the Wii is entirely first party, that anyone could have the rabbits turn up in their games
Yeah.
technically.
I kind of thought they would be the worst thing about it, but I know it's like probably for children, but they're really funny.
I think they're really
All I
good.
can say is "blah."
and that
W-
kind of like what they're called again.
The
off,
minions, they're the
Minions,
They were
yeah.
minions about like I would say that they must have come out either the exact same time or like just
Yeah, they
before
are a
or
bit
just
like
after.
They're like the Minions, but they're better.
Yeah,
They're funnier than the
I
Minions.
think they're funny anyway.
Bois is a lot funnier than anything. Banana.
Boy.
Yeah, so I've just been blasting a bit of that again. I'm probably going to get that finished before Red Dead, and then I'm really just trying to play all the games that I've started and not finished, rather than starting something new, because I don't want to get into something else.
Oh yeah.
I want to take everything off, get it all finished, and then be fresh and ready for Red Dead. So I haven't played much. apart
Well,
from
that's pretty much the same for me. I've just been playing FIFA because I just went, I'm not putting my time into anything. This is enough time, for an hour here, an hour there.
Is that the new FIFA? Is it?
No, the old one.
Oh, right.
We'll still play FIFA 18. No point getting 19 because I'm just going to play Red Dead for the next 6 months. So just that's all I've got to, on the game front. But I do have quite a bit on the movie front, quite a bit indeed. Special guest there.
Run away.
What's
Brett,
he doing?
desperate not to cameo even slightly. So I saw The Commuter.
Oh yeah.
I thought it
Commuter.
was okay.
Yeah.
It's perfectly
Is this
like,
the one you were talking about, Liam Neeson?
Yeah.
yeah. So it's perfectly okay. It's fine. It's funny. It's got Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson in it.
Yeah.
So clearly they must have cast one of them, and the other ones went, "Do you want to come on for this Liam Neeson film?"
On this kind of side film until we wait until.
I definitely feel like they asked Vera to do it, and then she asked Patrick to do the other role. But again, it's like it is better than like Unknown, Non-Stop, all those other ones.
Yeah.
It is better than
It's
them.
not just a Taken sequel, basically.
Yeah, definitely not. So I did quite enjoy it. And I've got quite a few to go through, so I'll go through them very quickly. I watched American Vandal on Netflix.
I've heard good things
Is
about
that the first or the second season? Is
the-
it the car dicks or is it the
It's
shit?
car dicks.
Right.
So it's
Do
like
you like this show?
I haven't seen it, but I've seen it advertised so many times, and everybody talks about it at work.
It's quite. It is
Actually
quite
good.
funny
Is
because they take it really seriously. Like they do all the credits and everything as if it's like Making a Murderer, but it's just about like someone who spray painted dicks on
I
cars.
quite like mockumentaries. Though.
Yeah, I
I've
do
been
as
watching
well.
one as well.
But it's not. But it's the thing is, it's like
It's not. It doesn't. It's not played out like a mockumentary.
Yeah.
It's played out like an actual documentary
Yeah.
about something really stupid.
but like stupid.
So-
it's like, yeah.
The reason I
Yeah,
haven't
that's
watched
still a
it yet.
mockumentary, isn't it?
Yeah, the only reason I
Yeah.
haven't watched it yet is because I thought that the joke might die pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's long.
might get
Like
stale.
8 episodes or something.
Yeah, when you're not actually throwing any extra jokes in there, when you're just talking about a particular subject in a serious way, I thought that it might start to
Yeah.
get a bit stale.
Is it
No,
American as
They
well?
do,
is
it's
it?
but it is like a Making a Murderer. You know, Making a Murderer, it would be like they would say something, and then there would be like 30 minutes of information, and then in the last like 1 minute of the show, they'd be like, and then I realised there was a second witness, and then that would be the end of the episode. So you're like,
Right.
there was always like
It's a cliffhanger.
there was always a cliffhanger to keep you going for the next bit.
Twists and shit.
And they ended up being like at one point they're like, well, it's got to be someone with a hot mom who did this. Let's roll down the hot moms of this school. And it's just like a list of us women, and the teachers like walking in like, what the hell's going on in here? So that was pretty funny. I've just got on I've just started series 2, and that's again going all right. I saw Left Behind, which is a Nicolas Cage film. Within the first minute or two, someone was ranting and raving about the Bible, and I was like, is this one of these Christian films? Spoiler alert, it's one of them Christian films. So effectively, it's a story about what happens when, in a blink of an eye, effectively everyone who's not a sinner gets taken to heaven, and we're left with Chad Michael Murray, Nicolas Cage, and the singer Jordan Sparks on a plane.
Dave loves this already.
Yeah.
You looked at us when he said Nicholas.
It's got 3 out of 10 on IMDb and 1% on Rotten Tomatoes.
1%.
That was my positive review. No, it was absolutely terrible.
Did they do a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh yeah. John Travolta got one recently.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Just him, like not even a film.
Yeah,
Just him
Travolta, yeah.
personally give him a 0%.
R.I.P. that career. I just saw A Star Is Born about 3 hours ago. I thought it was quite boring.
Star is Born.
Star Is Born.
Is this the
Lady Gaga.
Bradley Cooper thing?
Yes, yeah.
I thought it was quite boring.
Is that it's a documentary?
Yeah. No, it's
It's a musical, isn't it?
It's a like a rags to riches musical where it's like she wants to be a pop star, he's a fading pop star, and they meet effectively in the middle, and then she starts to overtake him, and then it's like, how does he cope when? And it's everything that you think it would be. There's like, this sounds strange to say, but I kind of got sick of them singing.
Right. Yeah.
Like
I think
there was
I
too
get
much
that.
singing in
That's
it.
most of my problems with
I
musicals.
get quite
right?
often like with musicals. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought, what's he called, Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Yeah.
Oh, it means on a proper musical,
Really
but there's a lot of like where they go on stage and sing songs, and
Yeah.
that's it, and the camera just slowly moves around them because that's all they can really do. Because they're actually singing like one of the times like they're singing at Glastonbury and stuff, and it's like I've just got to sit there and listen to Bradley Cooper sing a song for 3 or 4
I think
minutes.
I find it hard to express how unbothered I am about this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
that's the thing is that I actually quite like Lady Gaga, some of that older like music and stuff, but that sounds awful to me.
there's about 4 different plot lines that they're desperately trying to pull on each one. So they're trying to do like Bradley Cooper struggling with alcoholism, but at the same time Lady Gaga's doesn't want to sell out, but then she clearly does sell out, and then when Bradley Cooper tries to tell her, she's not having any of it, but then that's immediately dropped to take over for the alcoholism, and then his brother turns up and he's got issues with his brother, and then that just gets dropped because Sam Elliott has to leave and go off and do another film. So there's a lot of plot threads that are just left hanging. I think it'll probably get nominated at the Golden Globes and win everything because they'll want to meet Lady Gaga and all that stuff. And then I think it'll probably get best film, best director, and a best supporting actress nominations, but I don't think it'll win any. I think they'll give them because the Academy think they should give them.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll win anything. I think they'll win at the Globes because
Best
that's
musical.
well
Is that a thing?
at the Globes they have best comedy or musical.
Oh yeah.
So it's
Which
just
I've always found that weird how it's in
Yeah.
the same category.
Yeah.
Like when you've got a serious
Mental.
musical and it's
And
like,
that was-
oh yeah, just how you in with the comedies.
And Matt Damon won for best comedy for The Martian.
Eh?
And they were like, it wasn't a comedy. There was a few funny moments in it, but that's just a regular film.
I do remember
Still
being
won.
one really funny part in The Martian where everyone like proper quist, but yeah, it wasn't a comedy.
And then the last thing I saw was Venom.
Aye.
Oh yes, you mentioned this.
Yeah, again, it's
on the internet.
it's totally fine. It's nowhere near as bad as what everyone's saying. It really isn't. But it's not worth spending £10 to go and see it.
Yeah.
When it's on Sky, watch it. You'll
I will.
probably think it's fine.
I've heard such mixed reviews about it.
Yeah.
Loads of people are saying it was brilliant.
It's like a perfectly 6-7 out of 10 film.
Right.
And it doesn't do anything like, it doesn't try to set up like other villains too much like the Marvel movies do. It literally is just about this. But there are certain times where characters will say things like, "I'm gonna go and like to kill everything on the planet." Then that same character 10 minutes later will say, "Oh, I've come to protect the planet." And you're like, "I thought you were the villain."
I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about it, and they had the impression that it was one of those heavily edited movies where it, like we were talking about Suicide Squad, where
Yeah.
it seems to have totally changed from maybe the original plan, and it shows in a lot of
You could feel,
which a lot of times like probably what you're saying.
like I said, but they got the guy who did Zombieland, and it feels like maybe the idea was to do a horror comedy with a bit more horror, and then someone went, "Well, horror isn't going to make us money unless because."
Wasn't it always intended on being like a 15?
Yeah, so it's a 15 in this country, but
Is
it's
it?
but it's a PG-13 in America still.
Oh, right.
Wow.
So it's
I always thought that they were more strict on that.
the Americans are less strict on if you can't see it. So he bites off numerous people's heads, which
Yeah.
is enough for us British people to be like, "Oh no, that'll not do." 15 for you. Whilst the Americans are like, "Well, we don't really see him bite people's heads off, but we do see the heads flying, but it's not too bad." So PG-13.
But if you see someone's head coming off or you see a nipple, it's
Oh, yeah. If you see two bare nips,
yeah.
you're getting an 18.
Two, but so one nip.
One nip's okay.
All right.
Star is Born has one nip. That's cool.
Oh, okay.
2 nips, forget about it. And that's pretty much it. What was the you said there was something happened at the end of at Venom 2 weeks ago when we last spoke.
Oh yeah.
I'm intrigued to see what you were going to say.
Have you not seen it?
I seen it at the very end. I'm intrigued what you.
It was basically it was then another. Is it symbiote?
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
No, apparently that like it hints that another symbiote is coming. The Carnage is coming.
Well, so at the very end, Woody Harrelson turns up.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Well, I've read.
He just turns up in a prison cell and he's just like.
I've read more than one article. People saying like having suggested that Carnage was going to be
No.
in the next one.
Well, he will be because at the very end, he plays a character called Cletus Cassidy, who is Carnage.
There you go.
But he just turns to Tom Hardy and says, "When I get out of here, there's going to be carnage," and then winks.
Okay. Well, that's enough to suggest, I think.
And then at the very, very end, there's a 5-minute sequence from that Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, the animated film.
Yeah.
There's like a full 5-minute scene from that, just at the very end. And you
Really?
could tell there was like people who'd like waited to the end who didn't care, who were like 40-year-old guys who didnn't care about that animated
They're just
film.
waiting
They were, like,
to see what's going to
they
happen.
were like
again.
standing up and then they were like slowly walking because I thought like maybe is Venom going to turn up in that and Tom Hardy's going to voice Venom or something, and they were just like no, okay, I'm leaving
That's
now.
a cartoon. It's a cartoon as well.
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
It's very weird that they go from a live action film to a cartoon.
Yeah, it does look good, to be fair though. It doesn't look like it
Did look quite
it doesn't like it's playing for children, but
Isn't there too many different bloody Spider-Man stories about that now?
well, that's the whole thing. Is like this one's like the Hadron Collider thing goes off, and all the Spider-Men from different universes turn up.
Right.
One's played by Nick Cage.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's twice he's come up in this conversation already.
Both times he looked at me. And I haven't reacted
This time,
yet,
Nick Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
and I won't react.
He will.
He's coming back out soon.
It's getting in the
Another
news. Nick
7 times
Cage.
before it's finished.
Okay, so that's me cleaned out. I'm all empty
So
now.
films, obviously, I haven't had a lot of time for films because I've been playing Fallout 4 too much.
Game Pass.
Sounds like a lot, mate.
Yeah, last night I did decide to have a little bit of a break because it was starting to get a bit depressing all this.
All the sand.
All the Santa.
Didn't they actually say a word there?
I heard sand, I heard sand.
All this post-apocalypse stuff was getting a little bit depressing. So I decided to watch a film, and I think because Joanne had been watching me play Fallout 4 basically, so I think listen to all the old music.
Even though
so
she
much.
plays it as well.
She plays it, but she's watching. She was
backseat
lying
driving.
on the sofa.
What's your backseat driving for you? Go on.
Yeah,
Go in there,
yeah, it was really getting me nerves. Actually. So I think that all the old music had affected both our heads. We decided to watch like a really old film. We watched Whatever Happened to Baby Jane from the 60s, which is Joan Crawford and Betty Davis.
Right.
And it was just really creepy, man. Like Betty Davis, all it made us think. I quite enjoyed it, but all it made us think is Betty Davis must have been really weird in real life because she just seems it.
What was she doing there?
She's just like, well, because what it is, she plays someone when she's a kid. She was a child star called Baby Jane,
Right.
and she was on stage singing and stuff, and which is creepy enough in itself the way she was singing as a child. But then it's like 50 years later, and she'd lost all her talent and stuff, and like nobody knew who she was anymore. And she started to go crazy, and she wanted to get back into show business.
Right.
And she sings the same songs as she did when she was a kid. Like is the song that she sings called "I'm Writing a Letter to Daddy." It's like obviously made for like 8-year-olds to sing, and she sings it as an adult in exactly the same way she did when she was a kid.
Is that the idea though? It's supposed to be like, well, what the hell?
It is, but she does it so convincingly. I just thought she must be weird in real
You were
life.
already depressed about playing Fallout, and then you watched that creepy movie.
Absolutely, yeah. It was so creepy as well.
Which it's obviously the inspiration for the out of Cloudy Chance of Meatballs.
It's
Ah,
funny,
yes,
it's just-
That's what I've always kind of a thought whenever I've seen the chicken guy.
But yeah, no, it was quite refreshing to watch it. Watch something else. Apart from that, when I've been to get some food in between Fallout 4 sessions, I've been watching BoJack Horseman.
Burger King was it?
No, just sandwiches mainly.
I must say, the fact that you've put Red Dead on the TV in the background is incredibly distracting. Like, I've
you
been
think so?
watching him catching horses for ages, not listening to what he's saying.
I
He's not
quite
even
like
very
it.
good at it.
I think it's a nice touch having the playthrough in the background.
Okay, we'll keep it on there.
Do you want to switch it
Just
off?
don't expect many words.
Do you want me to switch it off?
No, it's fine.
Well, shut up then.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's why I'm not talking anymore. Now I'm watching it.
I haven't really.
You've been away quite a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, I've watched. The only film I've watched, actually, right, the only film I've watched all the way through is Roald Dahl's The Witches.
Great.
But it's a belter.
The soup?
Yeah. But I did actually watch. I started to watch Assassin's Creed after we were talking about it.
Oh,
I got an hour in, and then thought, I know where this.
Everything we've been saying is true, so I don't need to watch the rest of it.
I just thought it was. It looked like it could have been good.
yeah. I think what the thing is to do is once we've got the microphone situation set up perfectly, then we'll watch a couple video game movies and we'll just rip them to shreds.
I thought it started to look really nice, and I remembered it was the guy who did Macbeth with.
Justin Cazelle, I think.
Yeah, so it looked nice, that opening scene where they were doing the whole. And then he got his blade, and then that music came on. Did you remember that? Like that weird rock track
I can't remember that.
with some country style singing.
Yeah.
And then Eagle flies. I was like, what just happened to the feel of this movie?
It's just completely. It's a
changed.
massive mix-up, isn't it? It's weird.
And you
Very
were right,
90s.
and it was way too much, like you say, in the real world. What the hell did they do to the animals? What is that about? And
told you.
And then when they eventually went into the memories, it was all like massive battles. Like what's sneaky assassin about that?
Yeah.
It was just you had a bit where they kind of set themselves up. He kind of killed someone, and then they had a mad horse chase, and then there was a massive brawl in the second one. And then when they came out of the animals the second time, I thought, nah, this is not any good at all. And I remember thinking, even the trailers for some of the games where the opening scenes are like him like creeping through a crowd doing all these different things to set up the game, and then he does an assassination of some target. Those were better than that movie.
They could
have just done that kind of
first
stuff.
trailer, it wasn't he's stopping. It's like a Robin Hood scenario where it's like he stops someone getting executed, but he's going through the crowd.
It's great. It's really good, and that's what it's about. It's the games are like sneaking to get to your target, getting close in, managing to get
the
it,
equivalent
and then escaping.
Sitting on a bench and holding up a newspaper.
And I didn't even think the fight scenes were that good either. I thought like at least maybe the choreography would be good. Terrible. So I turned it off.
Yeah.
It's had such potential, man. That it wasted all of it. I think
it's one of those ones where they can't do very good cinematography because they're kind of held back by how much green screen they've got. And I know, like, you could say like, oh, like the Avengers and stuff like that, but they're like huge budget movies. This was supposed to be like a fairly low budget action thriller, and what they ended up doing was being like, well, we can't do many fights because we can't move the camera that much because all of that behind them costs money.
But you don't really need the fights. Maybe have them fighting at the end with like a main villain. But
I
agree. They didn't need it. So to make that choice is you know, you could then be like, right, okay, well, so they decided to go that way, but at least do it well. The fact that you made the wrong choice and then executed it poorly is like double slap in the face for fans.
They put a whole load of stuff into that animus, didn't they? They go, oh, look at this machine we've got and all that, and he was in this weird like mechanical arm thrown around the room. I was like, what is this wrong? And then during the scenes where he was like doing the action bits, it would flash to him back on this mechanical tentacle. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like nobody cares about this.
I agree.
And then I have also watched another mockumentary called Our Country.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Is this BBC Three?
Yeah.
It's
kind of in the same vein as People Just Do Nothing.
Yes.
But it's like it's out in the
it's about two youths in rural Cotswolds and what they get up to in their village after they've graduated from school. I got it from because Andy posted it.
Yeah,
he posted it a while ago. I give it a shot, and it is hilarious, man. I think the BBC. I don't really like that much BBC stuff apart from documentaries and mockumentaries that they do. It seems that that's all they can do that I like. Like The Office that did that. People Just Do Nothing. It's great, isn't it?
It is,
but it's a great show, man. It's just quite well written, and the two main leads in it are very good.
I find the BBC Three weird in the way that 90% of it is terrible, but every so often you get this great little gem from it. Yeah,
and I've never even heard of it. And there's 2 seasons already on BBC Three now. BBC iPlayer, sorry. And there's a new one about to start. Or a special or something. But I've never even heard of it.
I don't know.
I've heard of it because I think it's. It was like obviously you call it BBC iPlayer, but like the BBC Three stuff when it was still around, I've seen it on because they do a lot of. I've watched a lot of documentaries about death row on BBC Three. They've got like 3 series of just interviewing people about death row, which is kind of
pop up.
Yeah, so sort of pop up, but it looks like
it's a lot more fun than what that program sounds like.
I thought it was pretty interesting. I like
interesting. Yes, maybe
interesting isn't the same as fun.
I think it's one and the same sometimes, especially when people are like trying to like when you got like Werner Herzog being like, "Why are you here?" It's like, "How many people have you killed?" and all this stuff, and they're like, "I didn't kill nobody." It's like you definitely killed someone.
Werner Herzog is the guy interviewing people on the documentary.
I think so. He doesn't talk very much,
right?
But it's like you'll get like people in like a like sometimes they're in like big padded cells and they just have to like just say what they're there for, and it's like horrendous stuff. But then they're just like, "But I'm not guilty." It's like you pretty much are, as soon as you've memorized why you're in here.
Yeah, it's pretty detailed description to just give us of what you did.
You describe how you like washed your hands afterwards. Like you definitely did it.
There's a whole episode of this Our Country that's basically based in a kitchen, and it's them two, the main characters, kind of arguing between each other about their mad uncle coming out of prison. But throughout the whole episode they're fighting over who's going to have the top shelf in the oven. The lad wants his pizza and she wants her turkey dinosaurs in it, and they keep swapping it around like when they leave the room. And there's a mad mother upstairs who you never see, but she's got a mental voice and she's always screaming down at the last. It's really funny, man. It's good. You should watch it.
It is really funny.
You seen it?
I've only seen the first series.
I've just finished that first one.
The first one, yeah.
It was brilliant.
I think I don't even think I've seen the full thing actually, but it was a while ago.
Have you seen the one with the lass who's going to give her a tattoo and then she had narcolepsy? She agreed to get a free tattoo off some mad, really like hench lass who's renowned for being dead hard. She agreed to get a free tattoo because she'd just got her license, and then went around her house and she gave her a catalogue that she'd been drawn. They were just ridiculously terrible drawings of like Tasmanian devil and that. And there was just a generic bald guy, and she was like, "One of the Mitchell brothers." Pick one.
Rightio then. If that's all done, let's get into some news.
Sweet.
This is the bit where we can have a rest, isn't it?
Okay, so news, boys. There wasn't much, but then I found some. That's how it works, right? So James Gunn, who left Guardians of the Galaxy for all those disgusting texts and all that stuff that he put online, is now going to be writing and directing a soft reboot of Suicide Squad. So it will be they're somewhat of the same characters. So, for instance, like Will Smith might return and stuff like that, and obviously Margot Robbie and whatnot. But it will be a totally different style, and a totally different type of film.
They're redoing it.
So they're not remaking it, but they are. You know, like how you went from Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk to Mark Ruffalo just being in the Avengers. It's going to be like that.
So they're redoing it because basically they're acknowledging the first one was crap.
Yeah, they're acknowledging that they made big mistakes on the first one. David Ayer, the original director, was like, I totally got the villain wrong. The villain should have been the Joker. So James Gunn's come in and he's going to kind of redo the
They
Suicide
seem
Squad.
to acknowledge every single time they get one wrong, but then get the next one wrong, don't they?
Yeah, and it seems to happen way too often as well nowadays, man. Like, you know, like the amount of money they're putting in this, the amount of time and money. Why is there so many misses? I don't understand.
And I feel like
Almost everyone.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the things that you don't often hear is that, like, when people are like, oh, Wonder Woman was like DC's like biggest hit and all that stuff, it's the one they got right.
It's not,
But it's not
right though.
It's not that good. It's
No.
just so much better than the other crap
Yeah,
they're putting
it's
out.
alright.
It's alright.
It's a classic, like, it's a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, but in reality it doesn't really make much sense, because if you really look at that story of Wonder Woman, it's like, so she helped during World War One, saw everything happen in World War Two, and was like, nah, I'm not getting involved in that.
You shouldn't
No
be having
way
to,
did that happen.
Shouldn't be having to pick the best of a bad bunch, basically.
Absolutely not.
It's
There's enough
ridiculous.
money going around and enough talent for someone to be like,
And
this is the
source
wrong thing to
material
do.
is great. You've got so many good things to choose from. Why? Like
Like,
it'd be hard to ruin that, I think.
How can you still get Batman wrong to
Yeah.
this day?
Yeah.
Like, you've been shown how to do it perfectly, so
Yeah.
just do it. Like, yes, you have to do it differently, but you don't have to get like George Clooney back in to the tights. Like, you know how to do it, so just do it a little bit differently.
Well, I think they did try and do it. Maybe it's like the Nolan Batman, but
But
the
just
scripts were
couldn't.
fucking terrible.
But they had him
And
like
Ben
murdering,
Affleck wasn't as good as Christian Bale.
and they had him murdering
And-
people and using guns, which is his big thing. Is he doesn't murder people and he doesn't use guns.
Yeah.
There's these two big rules that he'll never break, and like Zack Snyder and Ben Affleck come along and they're like, nah, give me a gun, give me a machine gun.
Shoot that man in the head.
But having said that, that scene in Batman v Superman where he goes into the warehouse and takes out those like 15 guys, I just want that for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just drop him in Arkham Asylum, but for whatever reason he can't get out, and then he has to fight people.
Yeah.
It's just the worst script with the worst cast. Because even Alfred's terrible. Jeremy Irons.
How can Jeremy Irons, and he's in Assassin's Creed, so it's like,
Oh yeah, no man. I'm just.
and you're just like, what a fantastic actor, but you can see in his face he's like, why am I here?
Yeah.
I used to be Scar, you know.
But you know, obviously Nolan's trilogy, it just has everything right. Michael Caine, perfect. Alfred,
Mm.
you know, for example, just like bringing that example. Yeah.
It's his casting over
Yeah.
Zack Snyder's, I suppose.
Mhm.
But this sounds exciting actually.
Yeah, because
I-
James Gunn.
James Gunn did a good job of Guardians.
Yeah,
And if they give him like a freedom with it,
Yeah, well, they're going to.
Yeah.
They know not to get involved now.
I'm
Because
quite
the
happy that they're
Suicide
not
Squad-
being so like you know, petty with it as well. They don't care about that stuff from back in the day like Marvel does as much. Obviously, they're just like, oh, fuck it.
Which is weird, because obviously they're going to. I can almost guarantee that they're going to. Marvel will turn around in like whatever 5-10 years time and be like, "Do you want to come back?"
Yeah.
They're definitely going to, because apparently the guy who was the head of Disney, who was the guy who apparently he didn't say he was sacked, but multiple executives came and said James Gunn has to leave, and he was like, "Okay, I'll back you." But he apparently is planning to run for presidency, so he'll be president of the United States, which will leave someone free to take over at Disney, and then they could come in and be like, fucking let James Gunn come back.
Right, okay,
So it's kind of weird,
right.
and there's all kinds of. It's really interesting to read into like Marvel and all that stuff, and Disney.
the head of
because
Disney's going to run for president.
apparently,
What a mad country!
All right.
and there's
It's
a,
mad, isn't it?
but he is also like
I
a
bet
guy.
he's better than Donald Trump though.
Well, that's the thing. It's because often you find that the people that normally like lawyers aren't there and stuff like that. Like, I think like even on our side, it wasn't Tony Blair, like a solicitor, some sort of solicitor or barrister or something, and then he's worked his way up.
Mm.
Whereas America's obviously pushing now towards like business acumen and
Yeah.
you know, would any of you like trust a lawyer running a company? No, that's not their job. But a businessman might know what to do. Hence why Donald Trump's in charge. But it's you know, we'll see. Again, it is a bit of a we'll see. We'll see. It could be a bit fun. Ryan Coogler is back to make Black Panther 2, which
Yay.
hasn't even been announced yet. But they've announced that he's coming back to make the second one. But it's not. It's Black Panther 2 isn't on the slate.
Mm.
So again, we know after Avengers: Infinity War, he's definitely coming back.
Yeah.
And we know Spider-Man's definitely coming back as well. The Aladdin trailer dropped,
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
and no Will Smith still, but just
Was he linked like?
he's the genie.
Yes.
Will Smith
I
is
was
the
thinking
genie.
like, because funny enough, I watched the cartoon on Jess's birthday because it's a Disney movie in the morning.
Yeah.
And because Robin Williams is amazing.
It's
Oh, yeah.
And then I saw
That's-
that
you
trailer. I was
could
like,
never,
how are
ever
they going to
compare
do the
anyone.
how are they going to do the genie like?
They're going to do it, obviously.
It's gonna be heavy CGI, isn't it? Like,
Well, I think it's going to
they all
be.
are, obviously, but
Well,
Yeah.
Will Smith put something on Instagram the other day. He basically, because I think people knew he was involved,
yeah.
but he confirmed that he was. He
Right.
puts he just put the like Aladdin logo on there, and he said, "I can't wait for you all to see me blue."
Mm.
So
Oh,
it might
cool.
just be in makeup.
Well, like extras, like
Just
Gervais and extras.
I think it will be. I think it'll be. I think they'll just make him like somewhat like a ghost, like a giant ghost. I think they'll try and make it look sort of the same,
Yeah.
but it's still gonna be Will Smith. And I think they'll just be like, he'll just riff. He'll probably break into a rap. He'll probably make a French Prince joke. He'll probably do
Do
impressions.
you think he'll do loads of mad things like turn into a camel and stuff like Robert Williams does?
Honestly, yes,
so.
And then
because
there's like 15
I hope
of
so.
them and like and all this kind of stuff.
if
It's
they
got
don't,
big shoes to fill.
yeah, exactly, and there's no point going smaller. So you might as well go bigger.
Yeah.
There's no point trying. You're not going to beat him. You're not going to beat Robin Williams. You've got to do something different.
Yeah.
But I do kind of want him to
You
see
think
him
that
do.
answer is wrapped in?
Oh yeah, I think it's 100% because I can't see Will Smith doing the whole thing of like doing like Jack Nicholson impressions, but I can see him being like rapping his way through a song.
Do you think he's going to do like a Will Smith end credits song like he had
Oh,
he
yeah.
did in, like Men in Black?
I hope so.
Ha-ha.
I totally hope so.
Come down to Agrabah.
Ha
I'll take your daughter out and I'll bring her home early. Ha-ha. He's a good guy. World War Z 2, Brad Pitt returning and David Fincher directing.
Oh,
Really?
Any interest, or
I
was the first one enough?
don't think I've seen it.
I don't think the first one was brilliant. So
I agree with that.
yeah.
I agree with
The
that.
thing is, I might have seen it, but I might have forgot about it.
Well,
It's one of those where I think I have.
the only big thing about it is that the zombies are so crazy that they end up they're like ants and they end up like climbing on top of each other.
Yeah,
They
I
get
saw
over
the
things.
trailer.
Yeah.
Like that's its defining
Yeah.
characteristic.
Apart from that, it's like any other zombie film. It's like
28.
28 Days Later in America kind
Aye.
of thing.
Yeah.
Can you go around the world?
Yeah. It's World War.
Well, American 28 Days Later. Sorry, yeah. Americanized 28 Days
Right, I
Later.
see.
They could have called it 28 months later and it would have still been totally like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Except Brad Pitt's now our lead.
And yeah, we're not in London anymore.
I do love 28 Days Later though.
Yeah, it's great. 28 leaks.
28
28
leaks.
leaks
28 leaks later.
28 leaks.
The 28 leaks waiter. 28 leaks waiter is also. Robert Carlyle's class one. When he pushes the guy,
As the
his
leak
thumbs
waiter.
into the guy. Yeah,
Oh yeah. What?
he pushes his thumbs into the guy's eye
In
socket.
weeks. In weeks.
In
Leaks.
In leaks.
That's in weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because they did that in the first one. Cillian Murphy does it, didn't he?
Does he?
Yeah. So
He
that
does it to the
creepy
soldier guy.
Oh
Horrible
yes.
one.
Oh yeah. Sorry, but in the second one he does it as a zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were like, remember the first one?
Okay, here's another one for you. Another hot rumour. Jack O'Connell, who you might remember from,
I like Jack
from
O'Connell.
Skins and stuff like that.
Start
He's
Up,
now
yeah.
become a proper actor, as it were. Has been linked
Good.
to the new Batman film, which they're still not 100% sure whether Ben Affleck is coming back or not, because he's just come out of alcohol rehab and stuff like that. So it would be either as a replacement for Ben or as some sort of Nightwing or Robin scenario.
Surely it's Nightwing or Robin.
I know he couldn't be Batman.
That's mental.
It would be a 29-year-old Batman, so it would probably be like his.
But it doesn't
first
work in
year.
their world. They've set it off as if Batman's well down the line. So
So yes,
surely it's
It would
Nightwing.
probably be
or
a,
Robin.
it
well,
could be a
looking-
prequel though.
we're looking at
Oh, is
reboot.
it a Batman standalone? film?
Yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
the Batman. So we're looking at reboot territory here.
Mm.
So the only thing still going from the Justice League is the fact that Wonder Woman is getting a sequel, but even that's not really a sequel. Apparently, it's sort of not a sequel, but sort of is a sequel.
What? So it's as if the first one might not have happened.
They're treating it like it's another story.
So it's another reboot.
Yeah, like another
Almost.
soft reboot. Except that they're kind of ignoring literally the last film, but having the same cast. So, for instance, Chris Pine is returning, even though we know for a fact he died in the what 1910s.
God.
Yeah.
So again, weird. But we'll see what
I'm
happens.
starting to think DC should just
What
cut
was
the
he
losses.
hiding behind that log for? Did you see that? Sorry.
Jared Leto is going to be playing Morbius the Living Vampire in another Spider-Man spin-off. So the Spider-Man universe is getting bigger. It's getting even bigger because Kraven the Hunter is going to get a spin-off about him wanting to hunt the biggest game in town, which would be Spider-Man.
This is starting to get a bit ridiculous now. I think the comic book movie fad it's going to be ruined.
So the idea of this would be that those two could turn up with Venom, and that Marvel would then have to do a deal to be like, okay, that counts as one of your Marvel Spider-Man films,
right.
But Venom, Morbius, Kraven, the Lizard, the Vulture, any of them couldn't turn up in Iron Man. They would have to stay over by themselves. But they could still reference what was happening in the MCU, but they couldn't turn up in it.
Everyone needs to stop being so petty and just make some good films. Like without
For the
limits.
fans.
Yeah.
For the fans, for sure.
Money, I know. Just like cut all these bloody limits out. Like it's because it's pointless.
Well, I was going to leave this till last, so I'll bring it forward because you've already mentioned it. Bully 2, possibly in development.
I knew you ruined it.
Canis Canem Edit, as it was called in the UK, or Bully as it's more commonly known everywhere else.
Yeah.
Would
I'm
you?
probably here as well, to be honest. I'm not.
Well, it was never ever released and never mentioned as being called Bully. It was only ever in
they
the
had
US.
Bully Scholarship Edition when it got released as this.
Also, they must have changed it
on
from
the 360. It was called Bully.
I remember it being called Bully.
When it first came out, it was called Canis Canem Edit.
Yeah.
And then when they remade it for the Xbox 360 and added a few things to it, they brought it as Bully Scholarship Edition.
So that's good. So at least we can now call it bloody Bully.
Yeah.
I don't even know what Canis is. It dog? Is that Doggy's dog? Canis Canem Edit.
Something along them lines.
Canis must be dog.
Should I play Bully now?
Yeah.
Well, wait till Bully 2's announced and then play it.
I played it a couple of months ago. I couldn't stop playing it. I finished it. So
Really?
yeah, I think it's brilliant.
It's not like really dated.
Not really.
No.
No, I mean it's it came out after San Andreas.
Did it?
Yeah, so it's like
it was PS2. Did you say?
it was PS2. Yeah, it was one of the last games for the PS2.
Yeah, there was a thing of they were saying that I was watching a YouTube video about Red Dead and how all the Rockstar games have inspired it differently. So they were saying that Bully, like being like, oh, you've got to do certain things at certain times because you've got to go to class, and then when you're in the class, you do mini games, and depending on how well you do, you either pass the class, and if you pass, you then get access to like new weapons. So Red Dead apparently has a lot more stuff of like you can go in and do a lot more customization, which leads us to our so again Bully 2 would be good. I think it'll be, if it's anything like the first one, but obviously bigger and better graphics and all better everything, as Rockstar are always going to do.
I'm bored.
It's always going to be good.
Yeah, I'm on board for anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if I haven't played.
Absolutely.
Even if it was Ping Pong 2, I'd be like, yes, pre-order.
I hate Ping Pong 1. Like
Everything that releases just gold. Like for me,
even the Ping Pong 1.
especially the ping pong.
that was definitely a launch title for the Xbox 360, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was clearly like they were working on an engine,
Mm.
and they were like, "Look at what I can do," and they were like, "We'll just release it, make some quick money." But as I said, that leads to Red Dead 2, the full customization of weapons. So apparently, there's more than 50 weapons in the game, and every part of it can be customized, from the muzzle to the handle.
It's cool, isn't it?
And you can put like
I spend a
little
lot of time
emblems
doing that kind
on,
of bollocks.
different triggers, and so everything about it can be customized.
Is it like a case of collecting materials to do it?
Possibly collecting materials, collecting pelts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like the more I read about it, the more it kind of blows my mind. There's things like if you're going to the snowy mountains, you might want to layer up in clothing. So you put your regular clothes on, and then you put your winter clothes on top. You can even select whether to tuck your pants into your boots.
Or like have like tuck your sleeves up and stuff and that kind of thing.
So everything we were talking about, like obviously having a bath. If you don't bathe, you smell, and people will say you stink and all that stuff. Shaving your beard, so it's everything's just been taken to the nth degree.
I heard with shaving as well that you can do what basically you can't freehand with a razor, but your face is in sections and you can cut or grow any part, so you can make whatever.
So you can grow like
give yourself
so
some
if you want
mad
one
like
square,
a Fu Manchu.
Yeah. Or if you want like one square on your cheek,
yeah, you can do
like,
that.
go for it.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd want that, but you know. I'd like to have the option.
Yeah, that would be a reason to go on Reddit online and shoot your carrot in the back of the head.
I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I just like to have.
You
the
know,
option.
if you make yourself a mental beard, do you think
called freedom.
the people in the world would react to it? Because you know, if you get really dirty, they'll react to that.
100%. I think they've thought of. I think there's obviously a massive emphasis on they want you to live in that world.
Yeah.
They want you to, and then they want you to move straight onto Red Dead, and all of the thing in Red Dead's are probably going to have. People will react probably the same way.
Because I think it was you were saying like if you're being in mud or something, and you go into like a bar, everyone comments on how muddy you are, and how you should go and get bloody washed and
Go and
stuff.
get washed, and then you've got to go and lie in the bath, and then you can get a shave wash in the bath and stuff like that. So.
I heard as well, like you mentioned in the weapons, you can only carry, I think, 2 pistols and 1 rifle, can't you? And then or 1 like main weapon.
So it's
You
max,
have to like
it's
mix
the,
and match.
and
It's
Yeah.
the
everything
Max
else is
Payne
in-
3
everything
rules.
else is in the horse.
So you get some sort of rifle or shotgun in one hand and a pistol in the other, and you have a pistol in a holster, and then you can also carry a knife and a certain amount of throwables, shall we say, chuckables,
Cards in that.
and the rest of the stuff goes on the horse.
Yeah.
But obviously you can't put too much on the horse, otherwise the horse will get tired too quickly, or it might if you
Oh, really?
go up a big mountain, it'll kill it.
So before a mission, you just pull up on your horse and you go, right, what am I going to need here?
So you'll obviously you'll
shock this,
maybe,
shock goodness.
maybe you'll accept a mission at the camp, and then you'll go over to the horse and you'll put your load out on the horse, and then you'll dress yourself for where you're going. Is it in the mountains?
Have a shave,
Have a bit of a bath, wash those feet,
warm the horse.
tuck your pants into your shoes, and then you'll pick your saddle and all that stuff and hop on the horse and then go.
So right, do I need me knife? But like it's kind of like in the first one the system is a little bit like that. It's obviously a much more evolved version. Like you can see every bit of weaponry he's got on him, which is quite good for because that didn't really start happening until much later.
But you had like a wheel, didn't you? And you could select from the wheel you could get.
Yeah,
You put your rifle or your shotgun, then that would be on your back.
yeah, that's it. That's the only difference is that you could change which type of rifle you had, and that would like change. But it's still quite cool that you could see everything. So it's obviously evolved from there.
But what I mean is you've got like one big weapon on your back, but you can change from the wheel whether that's a rifle or a shotgun.
Yeah.
Whatever. You don't have to go back to the horse and get it.
Yeah, that's it.
And then our last. So I always said that I would leave the worst till last because that's how I like to do
That
things.
last week.
But this
Always.
would have been the best if it hadn't gone the way it's gone.
Right.
So you've probably already seen this, but the Witcher TV show cast has been released.
I saw.
I see in your post.
Yeah, me too.
So the second one next to Henry, our boy
Yes.
Henry, that's Yennefer.
What the hell is that about?
So
Is she 13 years old?
apparently I was reading something that in the Witcher books, sorceresses like to make themselves look very young for whatever reason. So hence why you've now got a mid-30s Henry Cavill with, I think, a 19-year-old actress portraying a 17-year-old.
And look at Siri as well. Siri, how old?
Siri is
how old's
also...
Siri in it?
Siri is a 19-year-old actress portraying someone
She's 19.
who's supposed to be a teenager. So Siri's going to be in her teens, I think. And then everyone else, there's no names of characters. No Zoltan. There's going to be no Dandelion. Every single other character announced was a character who was not from Witcher 3.
So
the
even though
redhead,
we-
so Triss, do you reckon? Gotta be.
Quite possibly.
So even though when we cast The Witcher, we were thinking, oh, we've missed loads of people out, we did a lot better job than they did.
Well, Witcher 3, to be fair, Witcher 3 is the newest game and obviously the biggest game.
Yeah.
But we don't know about Witcher 2, Witcher, or however many, there's
True.
countless other books.
Oh, they're basing it on the book.
So they're basing it on the books.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Fair
But obviously the characters from Witcher, the games, are from the books as well. So it's interesting that they've ignored pretty much everyone from Witcher 3 and went...
that is interesting. It's weird because, like, obviously that's
Maybe-
where most people know it.
But maybe they'll get there. Maybe they feel like this is a long-term
Quite possibly.
TV show, you know, and they want to start at the
Possibly.
beginning and get there.
But it is quite disturbing
Fair
that you've got a guy in his mid-30s who's
That
going to be with the
cast
sorceress.
does not excite me in any way. I mean, the only one I actually recognise is the most boring actor in the world.
But
But
it-
we've been
it's
through
fine
that.
as well.
Dan.
That's so weird. You know, that the casting the 19-year-old. It's so weird these days because obviously there's a lot like said about old. Like there's no place for middle age and above women in Hollywood. Like they don't get cast, and that's the epitome of that, isn't it? Like
It's very strange because there's no names. There's not even like a Charles Dance as the king. There's nothing. That's just like a just so you've got something to hang. Like so, if you didn't like Henry Cavill, and you've never heard of The Witcher, there's no point in watching that show because there's nothing there for you. There's nothing. Not a Jeremy Irons, a Jonathan Pryce. There's an Eric Idle even something. There's nothing. There's
Idle.
nothing there
Do
for
you
you.
think maybe that these are just what they've cast so far, and there's other big characters to cast with big actors? Do you think?
Possibly, maybe they want to keep secrets, and which is again is their prerogative. But if you want people to get excited about a film, you don't like leave You don't be like, oh, okay, so Batman's going to face Joker in the next film, and you'll find out who the Joker is, when the film comes out. It's like, no, you.
Well, how long till it comes out? Though they've got plenty of time. Haven't they?
Plenty of time. But that's the main cast. So if anyone else is going to turn up in it, it's going to purely be cameos, or it could be a main role for maybe the second series. But I don't know. I don't know if they're just hedging their bets that there's so many Witcher fans that they're going to get away with it.
So you're not overwhelmed by it so far, though, no?
Oh, now it's like I'm going to watch episode 1, and if that doesn't grip me, I'm out.
I mean, when they started Game of Thrones, we didn't really know who any of those actors were.
We all
knew Sean Bean,
Sean Bean, and Thingy Lena Headey. She was a thing.
She is.
What's her name? She's a queen or something.
Yeah. Do we know who she was before? Are you sure?
Yeah, she was.
She was in Judge Dredd, but I'm sure that was after.
She was in She was in something like 28 Weeks Later, something like that.
Right.
She was around. Not
exactly big though, was she?
No, not exactly big. But these are people I've never heard of. And if you think about me, who gets really into the nitty gritty of things and likes to do a lot of research, and I've never heard of them, then something's a bit up. But again, maybe they're going to be amazing. Maybe we're going to watch them and be like, oh wow, that's some really high.
Maybe they seem odd to us because we've only played The Witcher 3.
You never know.
Like we'll say if they're doing an
we
earlier.
just don't know. But I'll be looking forward to your review when it comes out.
You'll get it, mate.
I want it. I want it all over my face. And that is it. I kept that one for last. So
very good, mate. I enjoyed it. Thanks.
Is there anything else?
I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just leaving it to you. I did it once.
I think I had something, but I forgot.
Flopped.
Well, then let's get into some Red Dead then.
Sweet.
Let's get into the story of Red Dead Redemption.
Yay.
Now, boys, Red Dead Redemption spans New Austin and West Elizabeth, two fictitious states of the United States, as well as Nuevo Paraiso, a fictitious Mexican state. New Austin and West Elizabeth are adjacent to each other and share a southern border with Mexico. Now, that is real. Now, Nuevo Paraiso is a Mexican state separated from US territory by the San Luis River, and the game takes place primarily in the year 1911, featuring the final decade of the American frontier and the cowboy and outlaw archetypes that shaped it. The landscape of the Wild West is beginning to fade, and modern technologies like automobiles, machine guns, and oil drilling projects are beginning to appear.
Great, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's a really interesting time to pick for a Western to be like, it's the end of it. And when at the very beginning, when they're in a car and Joe Marston's like, what's this? Because we got a horse with wheels.
I've always wondered about that. I've always thought, like, it's as great as it is. You're making it hard for yourself by putting it then. You're limiting yourself to certain cowboy sort of things.
It is kind of a shame, but the one thing I remember, it was right at the very end, you'd get like a proper like a Luger, like from like World War One, and I almost be like, this doesn't seem right. But I don't think it's very, again, like Rockstar just being like, rather than just being like, okay, it's set right in the middle of the Wild West, they were like, no, what's an interesting time to set it?
Yeah,
always just another thought for them.
Because even the second one, obviously, I know we haven't got like fully into it yet. Like the second one is, it's set in like 1899, and even that says the dawning of the end is
exactly,
like so yeah, I think it's great. Like.
That was when the outlaws were finding it more hard to operate.
Yeah,
that's the period,
and like the Pinkertons and all them came along like in the 1870s, I think, so they were actively being hunted down, and like by that point, like Jesse James had probably been shot in the back of the head. Billy the Kid was probably dead. I do think it's probably one of the most interesting time periods completely.
Probably.
But it is, again,
because that's
very interesting to do.
Anything earlier that's kind of like just a free for all. It's just cowboys just being bastards.
But that's the thing. But you think about Red Dead 2, that's when like that, because it makes sense for doing like the GTA style heists, because they're like, well, let's do some big scores because this is not going to last forever. Yeah. And obviously, you already know 12 years later that they've lost everything.
And I suppose even in Red Dead 1, because it's on the cusp of that kind of technological advancement into motor cars or whatever. At the end of the game, you get access to Blackwater, where it's a much more advanced town, a richer town. And I suppose if it's set like kind of after that, then and you're doing heists and whatnot in Red Dead 2, more of those opportunities will come around because more towns will be like Blackwater. Yeah,
I think so.
So let's get. We'll quickly run through the plot. Hopefully, not take too long on this bad boy. So as I say, 1911. Where former outlaw John Marston is taken from his family by the Bureau of Investigation and will only be granted amnesty when he brings the remaining members of his old gang to justice. Marston sets off to track down Bill Williamson. Marston confronts Williamson and his men at their stronghold, Fort Mercer, only to be shot and left for dead. Local rancher Bonnie McFarlane finds him critically wounded and takes him to her ranch for recovery.
Why did they shoot again?
Just because he's like, I think he outright just says
Because
like,
he was with them, wasn't he?
He was with them, but
Yeah.
then he got out of it to be
a family man and have a farm.
and then he went back to confront him.
And because of the way John
But
is,
didn't
John
he-
is literally like, I'm here to kill you, and they're
Yeah.
like, no, you're not. Boom.
Did he not get out of it by they left him for dead when he was shot on a job and they thought he died, so he tried to get out?
quite possibly, or it could. Or, I mean,
Or
I
am
always,
mixing up?
I always thought it was that thing of like, you do X amount of jobs and we'll let you leave. Because
I thought that's how he ended up running away with what's her face
Bonnie McFarlane.
in having Jack. Was
No,
because-
no, he's got a proper wife.
Bonnie?
He's not with Bonnie. He's with a girl called Abigail, which you'll find out if you tune into my plot right now.
All right.
So, local rancher Bonnie finds him critically wounded and takes him to the ranch for
Oh,
recovery.
sorry, I'm getting mixed up. I thought her name was Bonnie McFarlane.
Here we go. Several days later, Marston begins repaying the McFarlanes for their help in the form of odd jobs around the ranch. During this time, he works with U.S. Marshal Lee Johnson and his deputies, con artist Nigel West Dickens, treasure hunter and grave robber Seth Briars, and an unreliable alcoholic arms dealer known only as Irish. Marston performs various tasks and favours in exchange for their help with organising an attack on Fort Mercer. Marston and his group then breach the fort and defeat Williamson's gang, only to find that Williamson had fled to Mexico to seek help from Javier Escuela, another member of Marston's former gang. In Mexico, Marston sides with Mexican Army Colonel Austin Allende and his right-hand man, Captain Vicente de Santa,
Man Captain?
to help end a rebellion in return for Allende delivering Escuela and Williamson to him. However, Allende betrays Marston, who then sides with the rebels, with the initial help of elderly gunslinger Landon Ricketts. Marston, along with the rebel leader Abraham Reyes and one of his lovers, Louisa, eventually turns the tide in favour of the rebels, killing DeSanta and launching an assault on El Presidio fortress. There, they find Escuela, who attempts to begin to bargain for his life by revealing that Williamson has been under Allende's protection. Marston is given the option to either kill Escuela or turn him over to the Bureau.
Ooh, I can't remember what I did.
Neither can I.
I'm pretty sure I killed him.
I'm 100% sure you killed him, Brett.
Yeah, like it was waiting for like the thing to come up that says like shoot him or walk away, and before it even came up, Brett was just like auto aim.
Yeah, I didn't realise it gave me the option. Like.
Brett didn't even shoot him; he stabbed him. It's over and over, and he threw dynamite at him and walked away.
Punched him to death. Even though you can't even do that in this game.
Ooh, banging.
They keep on getting back up. What do you think of me?
So Marston and Reyes then take the fight to Allende, where Louisa is killed during the attack. As Allende's palace is stormed by the rebels, both he and Williamson flee, but are apprehended and executed. Reyes then takes charge of the local government and plans to advance on the capital, while Marston leaves to meet with the Bureau in Blackwater, where he meets agents Edgar Ross and Archer Fordham, who refuse to let Marston return to his family until he assists the Bureau in hunting down Dutch van der Linde, the leader of Marston's former gang. Marston learns that Dutch has been forming a new gang and joins Ross, Fordham and a group of US soldiers in an attack on Dutch's hideout. During the assault, Marston chases Dutch up to a cliff where the latter commits suicide by backing off the cliff and falling to his death. Marston is released from his deal with Ross and returns to his ranch where his wife Abigail and son Jack are waiting. Marston devotes his time tending to the ranch, having sworn to keep himself and his family away from the outlaw lifestyle forever. He is then suddenly forced to repel a surprise attack from a combined force of soldiers, lawmen and government agents led by Ross. Marston is able to fend off several waves of government agents. Marston is able to fend off several waves of attackers and get his family to safety, but stays behind to hold back the rest. Despite a valiant last stand, he dies after being shot numerous times by Ross and his men and is buried by his family on the hill overlooking the ranch. 3 years later, following the death of his mother, Jack tracks down the now retired Ross and kills him in a duel. The fates of Marston's companions are later summarised. Marshal Lee Johnson retired from Armadillo and moved away. Reyes was consumed by power and became a tyrant. Bonnie McFarlane eventually married. Irish shot himself to death in an outhouse when his gun accidentally discharged. Seth eventually found treasure and became rich. And Landon Ricketts died quietly in his sleep. Very
Great.
nice.
Very good.
That bit, like, right at the end, you know, when you hold off all those attackers and then you're in the barn and then they're all outside and you go out and you can take out a few of them.
Yeah, you dead eye for like 3 or 4 of them.
You go for that Ross guy, don't you?
All right, all day long.
Oh, of course.
Surely,
Yeah.
I think I put everything into him. You're gonna die anyway. Like
just blast
I think I
him
put as many as I could into him.
It
was so.
I wonder if
It was
would
so
change
good.
anything.
It was quite sad, wasn't it? You were like,
I know, yeah. Just knowing that there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
I think. I wonder if it changes anything if you don't shoot Ross. I wonder if it changes anything for Jack in the future.
Well,
I wonder if you know.
Yeah, so if you shoot Ross,
he
you might.
shoots Ross. Jack shoots Ross.
But
So
it
you
could
can
be
definitely
that.
shoot one of them. There's someone you can shoot, and I remember going for him.
It could very well be that perhaps like if you like shoot him, like you always like miss. But like when Jack finds him, maybe he's got like a scar on his face or something. Like you shoot him in the head,
Well, maybe
he gets
it's
a
not.
scar.
Maybe it's not him though, because I definitely put someone.
Well, there's
But
two-
It could be the deputy guy.
There's 2 agents. There's Ross and Fordham.
Yeah,
Fordham.
maybe him.
Probably him.
Maybe you blow Fordham away.
Yeah.
Was it not that Ross was just slightly behind and you couldn't quite get him? I
Oh,
don't know.
quite
I'm maybe
possibly.
making that up, but I feel like I remember him
Quite possibly.
like trying to get him, but you couldn't.
That's probably it.
So, Red Dead Redemption, boys, how much do you love it? I know there's no question about whether did you enjoy it or not, but how is it up there on top 10 greatest games ever?
I would
For
say
me, it is.
definitely is.
Yeah.
Like
Top 5?
I like it better than
Top 1?
Well, I mean, because of the recent revelations for myself, top 2.
What do you think it's better than Red
It's
Dead?
in the top 2 somewhere.
I think Fallout 4 is better than Red Dead.
I'm not sure, man. I'm tangling with it. No, nah.
Oh well, we'll do the old start of the podcast again then.
Listen, I'm human. Sometimes I make errors.
My opinions change mid-thought.
Now, at the minute, I think Fallout 4 is my favourite game at the moment.
Yeah.
Which
Which is it's sort of like me with films. Like you watch a lot of a certain type of film and you're like, oh, my favourite film is actually. You watch a lot of comedies and maybe you're like, my favourite film is Naked Gun.
Yeah.
And then you watch an action film, you're like, oh,
well,
actually,
it's as simple as this. I mean, I don't know what's going to change after the second one comes out, but at the minute, I could go back to Red Dead Redemption any time.
I'm quietly confident that Red Dead 2 is going to be my favourite game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
I actually really
quietly confident.
I like Red Dead more than I like the Grand Theft Auto series.
100%.
Do you?
Yeah, 100%. For me,
I didn't know that would be the case. I thought.
other than I think Final Fantasy VII will probably. I know I've just said it'd be my favourite, but Final Fantasy VII had such an impact on me as a child. I don't think it would ever be bested because you can never replace that feeling you got as a child.
Of course.
But as an adult playing games, I can't see
Appreciating
how.
the actual facets of the game and everything.
I can't see how Red Dead 2 can only be beat possibly by like a Red Dead 3, something like that. Do you know what I mean?
or perhaps the Grand Theft Auto 6 when that actually comes about.
Maybe.
What do you like better out of them?
I think overall probably Red
Max
Dead
Payne
Redemption,
2.
but obviously there's only been one. I want more, you know.
And by God, you'll get it.
Exactly. Grand Theft Auto has been brilliant consistently, and they've had so many chances to do it, and every time it's been brilliant.
Yeah.
But Red Dead Redemption it does outclass it.
It's just something about the Wild West, isn't
Yeah,
it? That's
exactly.
like
It's very immersive in the Wild West as well, isn't it? Though, like,
There's definitely something for. I think a lot of like a prime example is when Zemeckis was doing Back to the Future 2, and they said, right, we're definitely going to go back in time, and they're going to get stuck back in time. And they went, well, what time period should they do? And Zemeckis was like, we'll do it in the Old West. And everyone was like, we can't do it in the Old West, or the Western's dead. And he goes, I know nobody wants to make Westerns anymore, but I want to make a Western, so this is my excuse.
right.
And that sums up how I think a lot of people feel about Westerns.
Right.
Like a lot of people never get to express like how much they actually like them, because a lot of people are just like, no, they're rubbish. Like they died with John Wayne, or like how many Western games is there? Call of Juarez, there's 2 of them. There's this. There's not very
that was
many.
a different era of Western as well, isn't it? Like
Exactly, it's totally different.
We could have weren't very realistic, those films
Yeah, they were very much like
of the time.
and it was all about the bravado of man.
Yeah.
You know, you've had a couple of of variances of westerns. The only criticism I've got of Western films is that so many of them are just the same. That there's not a much a lot of variance between the stories.
I agree with that. There's a lot of ones like
It's just revenge. Someone's happened to somebody back in the day, and then you know they've out the game, and then they get brought back into it to have revenge.
And pretty much you could easily just you could redub all of John Wayne's westerns, but to make him play the same character, and if you did a little bit of weaving, you could make it be like one massive film.
But
where he just constantly has the same adventure over and over and over and over.
But when I do love the genre in general. It's just that's the only criticism I would have of it. Like,
I do like that, again, going back to what I said before, we've been watching this for, an hour and a half, and he's only made $77. I do enjoy all that stuff.
But even like modern Western films, like True Grit, wasn't that a very kind of similar story? She was getting revenge, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was paying... now, I do get a little bit confused. She was paying Jeff Bridges to help catch Josh Brolin, who had killed her father.
Mm-hmm.
What was Matt Damon doing in that film?
being Matt Damon.
I cannot remember.
Because Matt Damon's like third lead, but I'm not fully sure why he's there.
Is he not a kind of government agent tracking down the same gang? Or something like that?
Possibly.
I can't remember exactly, but
or
he joins on because they've got a similar destination, so he ends up joining them.
I just remember that I do love True Grit. I think the original is great, and I would say that the Jeff Bridges one is actually better. But I just like the way when they're like, when he's like, how many bullets did you fire? Like, enough to kill them and stuff like that. Like everyone's like, yeah. Everyone just loves killing people in that time period. Same with Deadwood. Like, I love Deadwood.
Yeah, it's good.
And you don't often know, whenever you're talking about like TV shows, no one's like, oh, one of my favorite TV shows, Deadwood. Never comes out of anyone's mouth. But if you like,
because it never got to finish.
Well, apparently they are making a film that's going to be the definitive end.
Oh, really?
Apparently so.
That's probably a good way to do it.
Yeah, especially when they're like, how old's Ian McShane? Like 73, 74 now. Like, you need to get a move on.
Yeah,
because
he's a big pull in it, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want like if he got ill or something.
Like, it must have been like nearly 15 years ago. That was, hasn't it?
Well, the first series was 2004, so yeah, 15 years is
God,
next year.
Makes you feel old as out.
I know. It's crazy, man.
It's also like definitely like not age appropriate for when we were watching it.
Yeah. You know, Shaun of the Dead is 15 years old as well. Like, in a couple of months he'll be 15 years old.
I could possibly put Shaun of the Dead in my top 5, like.
Yeah. Great. Brilliant.
But yeah, Red Dead.
yeah, Shaun of the Red Dead.
I think, you know, I struggle a lot these days with too many open worlds. I get open world games. I get bored unless it's unless it's very special.
Yeah.
I get really bored with it. So Breath of the Wild, Zelda was amazing, which I talked about was amazing. But Red Dead was probably the first one that really got us grip. Like I remember going, you got like little tiny like missions, like survival missions, and I remember going in the outback or whatever. I mean, I think that's Australia, but whatever.
Okay. The frontier.
Collecting flowers.
Yeah.
Because I was ticking them off
yes,
the list and
yes.
getting that up, and then you could do those hunting ones, but you had to go around different parts of the.
I think one of the reasons that might be though that is equipped you and will never get boring is that it like does feel like it's like a living world. Like whenever you go about somewhere, and then someone will pop up and go, "Oh, come and help us!"
Yeah.
And
it wasn't like too much either. It didn't happen like constantly, so you felt like the same events were happening.
Yeah. And there's not too much of the whole like GTA thing where like, you know, a lot of people in GTA are like lunatics, like they are like caricatures of people. Whereas this is like, it's the archetype of the Western. Like
it is.
Like Seth is like crazy, but he's also a grave robber, and it's like and he definitely at some point kisses corpses, but is he doing more? Well, that's as far as like GTA will go. Like, but he's just cookie.
Yeah.
But like Lee Johnson is like Lee Johnson would.
They're a bit like caricatures anyway, but they're like you say, like almost like the Westerns we've been describing those old movies. They're caricatures, but they put it in a kind of like a modern story kind of.
Absolutely.
I do love it.
Even John Marston, like the main character, he's brilliant, isn't he? Absolutely brilliant.
He's a great hero, isn't he? Like, you respect him, even though he's
almost an anti-hero.
He's not just a fictional character. He's a fictional character in a game.
And like the ultimate villain is the government.
Yeah.
Like you've been sent to like kill an old friend, but he's another outlaw. Like you are an outlaw who's been like granted, you know, clemency.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's actually the government who are the bad guys who are stopping you being.
And
an
you
outlaw.
want to just kind of go straight as well, don't you? And get a little place where your wife and farm, where you raise your kid and that, and they're not letting you because of your past.
You want him to have his wish, man. You want him to do. He just wants to put his.
Even though he's done some bad things, he's trying to redeem himself. You know what I mean?
This the whole time where he just blasting random people.
Well, he's a baddie, so.
Yeah. But that's another thing that I do enjoy. What I do enjoy about the Westerns is it's a lot cleaner. It is a lot like there's no CCTV, there's no judge, there's no court.
Yeah.
If you got into a dispute with someone, you blew them away, and I guess you were right because you're still living. Even if you were
That
wrong,
does sound clean. That sounds very clean.
and then it would, and then
conscious.
you would get that classic the old thing. There's always the guys like. A guy always like every film someone's like comes over with a tape measure and they're like, what are you doing? It's like, for your coffin, sir. It's like, why do we keep this creepy guy around? But he needs to be there because every town
He's
needs
the richest man in town, isn't he?
you know, every town needs a guy like a what is it? Not a mortician. What am I thinking of? What's the word I'm thinking of?
I know what you mean, but I've also the
Is
word
that it?
also escapes me.
God, what is it?
It's
That's so annoying.
What is this?
What is it? Funeral.
This is great listening.
It's not. Do you want to hear 3 men stammer? Tune in this week's episode.
The 3 men going.
Sponsored by Burger King.
Death
Well-
Man.
It's on a funeral director, but it's something like that. Yeah, they had a special name. We'll get it.
You could tie people up and put them on the tracks, couldn't you?
Yeah, and wait a very long time. Once you got the full map, you could then see the train moving, so you could just wait for the train to
How
come.
good did the train robberies on the new one look though?
Oh yeah,
Morg.
Morg?
we call him a Morgman.
Morgman.
He'll come.
Right, okay, sorry, let's just move on.
Jesus, man.
Not a
It's on the tip of my tongue, it's mental, isn't it?
ventriloquist.
Undertaker.
Undertaker. That's
Yeah.
it. We should have known. With all the...
Jesus wept.
Anyway,
I'm not editing any of that out because I'm leaving the country tomorrow, so that's all staying in. So yeah, that's.
what was your point about them anyway?
Oh, I don't fucking know.
Every time
miles
needs
away.
on because that many people die.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That many people take
Yeah,
justice.
yeah,
into
and
their
it was
hands.
like you were saying, like it's the richest man in town is the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I do, but I
Everyone
think,
should just stop killing people and become Undertakers.
Yeah. what off the top of your heads, because I didn't ask you to do any research, but off the top of your heads, do you have any favourite Western movies at all?
I mean, obviously the last couple of Tarantino films, which are brilliant.
Yeah.
100%.
Like I said, True Grit's also great.
Yeah, that's all that pops into my head really.
I like.
I did quite like the remake of 310 to Yuma with Russell Crowe.
Yes.
Quite good. And Ben Foster played that creepy cowboy in it, and ever since then I thought he's a good actor.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in anything else that I think.
He
is
was
good.
in Hell or High Water.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that. It's on my list.
The crazier brother.
I think he does a good villain.
Lone Survivor. Did you see that? He's one of the soldiers in
Yeah.
that. I don't know which one.
Barely.
I also like a couple of Clint Eastwood films. Unforgiven.
Oh yeah,
It's a good
Unforgiven. I like.
I haven't seen
Unforgiven.
them.
I
No.
mean,
Oh, it's great.
I
Unforgiven's
haven't seen
a
the
little
one,
bit.
the Sergio Leone ones either.
You need to see all of Sergio Leone's. You need to see Unforgiven and Shanghai Noon.
The good, the bad, and the- I mean,
Johnny Chan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Owen
see that
Wilson.
Unforgiven's a little bit later though. Unforgiven's in the 90s. I don't think it's like
Is it?
92. But it's
Yeah,
good.
I think.
I'll
I
add him
think
on my
that's
charity shop list.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'll put him on my charity shop list.
The charity shop list. Yeah, and I'm sure the spaghetti. I'm sure that like you do find that stuff because it's
Will
usually
I?
like dead people's houses and like people tend to have the spaghetti westerns and stuff.
Not everything in the charity shops for my dead person. Dan.
I know,
Some people are just kind.
Actually,
Are you trying to say you wouldn't get rid of them movies
I was-
unless you died?
I was in the local Undertakers at the time.
Oh, I've learned a word.
Now that I remember the name, I can't stop saying
You
it.
mean Mortician?
The Morgman. Tony Morg. Right, so shall we get into some casting then,
We
boys?
probably should because
Do
there's
this.
loads of it.
Aye.
Right, okay, boys. So, which category should we do first?
Let's start with the Mexican.
What are you laughing for?
Minor allies, isn't it?
the magic of the podcast.
It's going to make no sense to anybody this
But
time.
I'm doing this for you guys.
I was perhaps thinking we should do the Mexicans first, Dan.
I love a good Mexican. So,
I don't think I trust the Mexicans.
who should we do? What?
I'm joking, man!
I would have been fuming.
Absolutely fuming.
Who should we do first then?
So we've got.
Should we do
Colonel Allende?
Yeah. I can't remember. I don't know if it's Allende or Allende or something.
Allende.
So he is in the Mexican army, right?
And he's the big guy. He's the top.
He's
the
the
top
colonel.
man. He's the colonel.
Top dog.
As the name
But he's a
suggests.
baddie, isn't he? Because he's the one who's holding on to...
Yeah. So
Of course he's a bad. He's
so-
a Mexican.
Bill
Oh,
Wilson and
dear
Javier
me. We
Escuela.
have listeners in Mexico, for God's
A
sake.
Mexican in a film. They're always baddies. In a film?
You might have just saved yourself
That's what I meant from
from
the
a lot
start.
of Hispanic hate. But yeah, so
You
this
see
is
a lot.
this is the
We'll
guy.
just lose one listener.
Oh, I did that. I
We'll
did
use the
that.
one Mexican listener that
I
we've
did
got.
that. Cheese.
I cannot believe what they did.
You made just as many.
Well, we're definitely going to lose him now, Dad.
No,
you
come back.
made a big deal of it when I did a Cheech Marin impression.
Well, that
as
is
well.
true. That is true. Yeah, but I can speak a little bit of
Pretty
Spanish.
good impression.
I can speak a little bit of Spanish, so it's okay.
I can be ignorant. I'm allowed.
I'm ignorant.
I'm
You're
ignorant.
so ignorant.
Yeah. So Allende, whatever his name is, this is the guy who's currently in charge, but he's
But at this point,
a problem. He's a
when you-
villain. He's a tyrant.
Yeah, when you meet him, he's like housing Bill Williamson and Javier Escuela, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you're doing
Who
odd,
are your targets?
and you're doing odd jobs for him because
In order
obviously
to
Marston does stuff for good guys and bad guys.
Mhm.
So he's doing stuff for the bad guys
He's working both sides.
and to
Why
get
is he
information.
working for him just to try and
To
get
get information.
on the people he's hiding from him?
Yeah. So he's probably been like,
Is
yes,
he not going to say, "I'm not going to give you. I'm not going to give you."
oh no,
access
because
to
he's
them
got
unless-"
no loyalty. Like his loyalty is to like himself. So he's like, so he'd be like, if you kill X amount of people, I'll give you Bill.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So for this guy, I went for
I love my one.
I went for a much older actor
It's so
who you'll remember from. He was in Fast. He's been in loads of things, but the most recent thing he was in that was like a big Hollywood thing was Fast Five. Joaquim de Almeida. Now you'll know the face when I show you it, because he's been in like. He's a classic, like I think he's been in all of like Robert Rodriguez's films.
All right.
He's
Yeah,
just
show
like
me.
a classic like Latino actor.
Yeah.
He's been in loads of things, but he's never like he's never the
probably-
star.
He's probably been in a lot of Mexican films as
He's
well.
probably he's probably a massive star of like Latino films, but when it comes to like Western films, he's always like second. He's always a villain or someone who dies. And
Right.
Just so you know, for like every single part of this film, I've cast someone who cost a fortune.
Yeah. Like
Well,
everyone's like
this
big
one-
names.
Yeah,
This
well, it's a
one's
big
our-
game in it.
I
Like,
think I've got that as well actually.
yeah, this
I
is
got really excited. Every character's great, and I'm like, well, these people will be.
this is Grand Pitch Thoughts' $500 million film.
I'm the same, mate. I've got.
So
like,
let's hear it. Let's hear it.
everyone except one, maybe.
Yeah, might not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's Allende? Tell me, please. I beg of you.
So far, Ellen, sorry, Dave.
Don't make it.
You go ahead.
I'll put in Antonio Banderas because I haven't seen him in ages.
Yeah.
And he's class,
I
and,
love
and
Antonio
he's
Banderas.
older now, and he could do a great Colonel.
I
even.
love Banderas.
Well,
He's never
I,
turned up either in our casting.
I don't think so.
I didn't focus on the Colonel thing as much as I focused on being a bit of a bastard. Andy Garcia, just because you can do
Yeah, he's
villains
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
well.
yeah.
I was thinking about him, but I put him in Max Payne one. I thought, well,
Mm.
Dan would tell you off. And
I will be
he's-
really upset if you double cast.
You can't be in this and Max Payne, Dan.
What is he? Dan Dave.
Dan Dave.
Hi, I'm Dan Dave. So, what about his right-hand man, Captain Vincente de Santa?
This guy's a bit of a loose cannon, isn't he?
Ah.
But more violent.
He
Does
seems,
all the-
isn't he
does
like
all
a,
the
like a
dirty work.
spoiled kind of guy as well? He needs everything his own way. Like, yeah.
Like, works.
Yeah.
Works. This isn't a big actor actually.
I feel like
Mine's-
the Colonel is like the smooth talker who was willing to do what he needs to do,
the
but he can
Antonio
talk his way out.
Banderas kind of guy.
But De Santa is like, I'll just shoot my way through my
Perfect.
problems.
Yeah.
I went for now a smaller actor. He used to be in That 70s Show, but now he's turned into a bit of a proper
yeah.
actor.
Yeah.
Wilma it's Wilma Valderrama. I presume it's be Vilma, but I'm not 100% sure. But he's done a few. He's gone a lot more serious than he was in the 70s Show. Obviously,
He was a massive pull for the 70s show as well, though. Loads of people absolutely loved him in the 70s
he was
show.
great in the 70s Show.
Yeah.
That is still a great show. I think it's on like 5-star or something every so often. It is still really funny.
Yeah.
Can't say I've seen much of it.
You're missing out.
Well, I went for it is still quite a big name actually, considering what he's done recently. Diego Luna.
Yep.
Rogue One.
200%.
Basically the main guy in Rogue One.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we brought up Diego Luna before, and Dave had the same look of
Normally you say the names
A
and I go.
his mouth just
you have
opens
to
and he
show
just
the
starts
picture.
taking in lots of oxygen.
If this was like a video podcast, that would just be ridiculous. wouldn't it? Dave looks confused for the next half an hour until he gets to his names. He's like,
Maybe we should do like a commentary like that one then. Audio
No,
commentary
I'll
over
just stay quiet. Dave looks shocked. I went for Raymond Cruz, who played Tuco in Breaking Bad.
Ah, nice, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
I went for the loose cannon kind of more violent
That's
kind of type, and
that's the big guy, isn't it? The series one.
from season 1.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
exactly.
thought we nailed.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then we've got Abraham Reyes, who is supposed to be the guy who is the hero.
Yeah, he's
in
like a
Mexico.
revolutionary guy, and
Revolutionary.
who I've just learned turns into a tyrant anyway. I quite like that.
I'll go first straight away. Diego Luna. I picked
right.
him
Yeah,
for him.
yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah,
Yeah, he would.
I went for Pedro Pascal again, who's from Narcos.
Oh, Pedro Pascal.
I love him though.
I
He's
love
brilliant.
Pedro Pascal. He's great. Apparently
Who's
he's
playing
the,
Narcos?
The Or the
FBI
agent
agent.
who's Colombian, isn't he?
Right, yes.
He's a Colombian agent, isn't he?
Yeah. So the
He's in Game of Thrones as well. He plays the Viper, or what do you call it?
and he's going to be the villain in Wonder Woman 2 apparently as well. But he hasn't. He's got like no facial hair and he's got blonde hair for some reason. It looks very odd.
Yeah, for mine, like obviously, because you know you were saying he's like revolutionary,
Yes.
but he turns into a tyrant, and I think that's because he's not really a revolutionary. He does everything for himself because he's very like narcissistic. He like proper loves
Is he?
himself, and that's how he ends up being how he is. And I thought someone who could play narcissistic is completely different from Benicio del Toro. Is it like?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for
He's
sure.
like obviously an older guy and stuff, and he's got a different look from him. But I just think I thought
I
the
love
character
Benicio
itself.
del Toro.
Yeah.
Good
There's
work.
definitely like a thing of like if you get a film that's got Del Toro, Banderas, and like all of those like famous like Latino actors,
Garcia.
Gal Garcia Bernal, like everyone who's in it, and that would be just great.
Yeah, and
But
they all fit into this so well.
But you
as
never
well.
seem to get them. You always seem to get like one in a film. You never get like multiples. It's a shame.
Yeah.
And then the last one, Louisa, a pretty kind of throwaway role, but obviously it's supposed to be a big thing of like, I think you're right,
I
like
struggled with this one.
when she dies,
I
it's
think
like
you're right.
Marston feels it worse than he feels it, because he's like, oh, I can get another woman. It's like, that's very a strange attitude to have, because Marston is supposed to, he's obviously an outlaw with a heart of gold. And I went for Gina Rodriguez. She's Jane the Virgin.
Oh,
You've
right.
seen that show? She's Jane.
Cool.
No, not a clue.
All right.
Again, I
I'm just voicing it like you told me to.
went for Big
Hey,
Star.
hey.
Not a clue.
I'm
Duh.
glad.
I went for Big Star. Didn't need a big star, but I went for it anyway.
Here we go.
Selena Gomez.
Oh, that's fine.
I thought
Yeah, I was
she
thinking
really
that's
good
pretty
in,
good, actually. That's
I don't
actually
think I've
really
seen
Spring
it.
Breakers.
We should.
Yeah,
I think I look at her and I just think Disney and it puts us off every day.
yeah. But obviously, if you'd seen Spring Breakers, you'd probably think
Well,
differently because that's
yeah.
a massive far cry from that.
Well, I cast someone who's not even Latino but could do it.
Go for it.
Rosario Dawson.
She is still.
She's definitely Latino.
Is she?
Yeah. At least
Well,
part
nailed it,
because
At least like there's something that's just got, you know, either half.
But I thought she'd be good to do that sort of because she's the strong female.
Sin City.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's, that revolutionary streak in it. I thought she'd nail that as well.
yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful, lovely, lovely. What should we do next then?
Should we discuss it first?
What are we doing? The minor allies next.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, okay. You guys lead the way.
So minor allies. The first one would be Harold McDougal.
Who isn't he like a scholar but he's also addicted to cocaine?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like a
So
scientist.
Is he young or old? I couldn't tell.
No, I
I
couldn't
cast
tell
young.
I
I
think
cast young.
I went
quite
middle aged.
Did you?
I'm quite young. Yeah.
I went middle aged.
But he's a scholar researching something in the Wild West and he's mad and addicted to
I was quite
cocaine.
happy
Yeah.
with my choice for this one actually.
Go on, then you go
So-
first.
We go first. I went for Dom Gleeson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
He was my.
He's a ginger, isn't he? The character
Yeah,
of
it's
Ginge.
a Ginge. I mean, I didn't go from because he's a Ginge, but
I didn't say you did, Brett.
I'm going
So
let's finish.
no, let's argue.
And that's probably why what put him in mind of him. But then I just thought, you could do that so well. His character in Star Wars, you know, it's kind of like geeky.
I
But,
quite hate him in Star Wars, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's a good actor. I just think that role's a bit crap. And I
Yeah.
hate how they made him a bit of a weakling in the. Never mind.
Yeah.
Different
Well, that's what I was
than
thinking. He's a bit of a weakling kind of dweeb,
Yeah.
but he's also addicted to cocaine.
I
He
hate
has
the-
been-
I
he
hate the squeals he does in that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
He has been. He has
It's not
been in
funny, it's just annoying.
some good. He's had some good roles, but he's always like a. I feel like. There's something about him where he's never ever given. Whenever he plays the lead, it's never like an amazing film.
Strong. He's not a strong.
But he's
role.
always good
He
in
is
minor roles.
Yeah. He does some
But yeah.
like romance kind of stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah, he did like a time travel movie or something,
Yes,
didn't he,
he
with
did.
Bill Nye?
Oh, did he? Yeah, he did. He was quite good actually.
I haven't seen him in Peter Rabbit. I must say.
Oh yeah, he's the farmer. in
And he's
Peter
done like
Rabbit,
a
isn't he?
horror kind of one, isn't he? Like a gothic kind of house with a ghost in.
Possibly.
I don't know
Possibly.
what it's called. Anyway.
But yeah, no, I like him, and he was my first pick, but I think I picked him like last week or a week or two ago.
Really?
So I was just like, I'm not going to do it. I'll find some other ginger actor because I thought that is kind of.
I suppose it's not just the hair; it's the complexion as well.
Yeah, when you see it.
Well, I've got the complexion.
Yeah.
So I went for Jesse Tyler Ferguson from. Oh God, what's it called? It's is it? It's not My Family. I forget what it's called, but it's this guy.
Ah, yeah.
Modern Family.
Modern Family. That's it. My Family's on the BBC.
You've just cast him because he's ginger, haven't you?
No, he was
I mean,
actually.
he has.
No, it was Dom Gleeson was my first thought, And then I was like, I don't want to pick Domhnall Gleeson, so I'll have a think of like other
Ginger.
actors. And then he came up and then his picture, because I did have a picture of all of them. So I thought, oh, I couldn't work out.
I can just think of him as that like mega camp character from Modern Family.
Yeah, I didn't think of. I should have listened.
Like that, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I didn't. I was going to listen to a video and see if he was with the name like McDougal. I presumed he was like Scottish or Irish or something. And then I was just like, oh, screw it, just to take a he'll do.
Well, I went for Paul Dano.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There
I
will
love
be
Paul
blood.
Dano.
Cool.
Yeah, remember when There Will Be Blood? He's been in that era anyway, ish.
Yeah, I think that would work.
And he's a very good actor.
Very
Yeah.
good. He's definitely been nominated
Very
for an
interesting
Oscar.
as well.
Was he nominated for like an Oscar for Little Miss Sunshine or something?
He was great in that. I watched that recently. He's brilliant.
You're not getting nominated for an Oscar and There Will Be Blood.
Yeah,
He might have
probably.
been, he might
Probably
have
because he was very good in
He
that.
was great in
Was
that. I
is
think
that
that's
the one
probably
where he's a
his
priest?
favorite.
He's a priest, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Mad as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely mad.
It's great. He's also in that. With
Brett
doesn't
Things.
matter.
It's gone. He was at. I remember the thing for There Will Be Blood seems to be the only place where they've got video footage of Daniel Day-Lewis actually breaking character.
Really.
Oh,
It's the only time that he like someone says something and he just starts laughing and he can't stop and then his voice just drops and he goes, "We're gonna have to stop." That's the only footage I could find. I'm sure there's more out there, but on YouTube that's the only thing that seems to be him like actually dropping character.
Prisoners, he was really good in.
Yes,
well.
yes, he was.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that's Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal, isn't it?
Yes.
He does good kind of outcast characters, isn't he?
Yeah, a bit freaky characters
Yeah.
as well. Like
Yeah. And he was one of them on me because I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I did a list before I started casting, thinking these are people I'd want to get in.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he'd be good for that anyway because he was on that list.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Lovely jubbly.
Absolutely.
Who's next, Brett?
So, I mean, they're actually next on the list, but like going on from there, I nearly had Paul Dano as Seth.
Did you?
Yeah, I nearly chose him for Seth.
I'm wondering if we're all going to have the same Seth.
Yeah, I think we might do actually. Now you just said that.
No,
I went for a more obvious choice after I'd
I felt like there
Mhm.
was an obvious choice and I couldn't get it.
really.
No, I couldn't think of who it was. I feel like
Yeah.
there's someone who should
there's-
play this.
Then you'll
I think it might be this
Yeah.
person who we're talking about here.
Yeah. Go on,
Um,
do it now.
If mine's Mackenzie Crook.
Mackenzie Crook.
Of course.
Yeah.
Mine should be Mackenzie Crook.
Who was
But
it?
I went. It's gone off.
Oh no.
Like I said, Paul Dano and Mackenzie Crook. I end up on Mackenzie Crook.
Brilliant.
Mm.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I went for Harry Stanton. Who he's old, very old now, but he played.
Oh, is he not dead?
No, I don't think so.
I thought Harry Dean Stanton had died. I hope not.
When I cast it, I thought, I wonder if he's dead, but I'm pretty sure I checked.
Oh, good.
He wasn't dead.
I'm glad. I feel a lot better
Yeah,
now.
he's dead, I'm afraid.
Oh, R.I.P.D.
Yeah.
Well, Mackenzie Crook will have to get the job, then, won't he?
Yeah, sorry, Mackenzie. You were second choice to a dead man. That's all
It was just last year. Just last year.
Yeah, and he was.
That is good. Very good casting, though, boys.
And yourself, mate.
Right, and next,
Almost.
Brett.
Next, Dave. Anything you want to do next?
Irish?
Irish.
Do
sounds good.
Irish. Now, I went for someone who is not really an actor, but he's done a little bit of acting, but he's a stand-up comedian. Dylan Moran.
He crossed my mind, man. He crossed
I just
my
want to let
mind.
him grow a bit beard.
soft, isn't he? Just a bit of a soft shape.
He's been quite a few like things though. He was
He was in Shaun of the Dead.
Run Fat Boy Run. Shaun
He's
of the
very
Dead.
good and he's
Yeah.
very funny, but
Yeah.
does he fit in the Wild West?
No. That's why I thought it would be
Absolutely not.
it would kind of be like it's either perfect casting or terrible casting.
He's the epitome of drunk Irishman, is
Yeah.
all it is.
That's what I was saying. I didn't want to be like Michael Fassbender as
Yeah.
Irish.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to find someone who's actually funny, and
Yeah.
he's the first guy I thought of.
Mine's
Is
not
Irish a
particularly
funny
funny,
character?
but he is quite funny. Yeah.
He's supposed to be a classic drunk Irishman, isn't he?
Yeah.
I like.
Anyone who dies whilst he's trying to take a shit by accidentally shooting himself is an idiot.
Well, I didn't even cast Irish.
Oh dear.
He didn't cast it.
No, I cast Irish.
Oh,
but I
right.
didn't cast an
You
Irish.
didn't cast Irish, but I casted Irish. What did you do?
Also, you didn't. So let's move on then. No, I cast Irish. I just didn't cast Irish.
You see, I cast.
But I went for someone with a strong accent.
Wesley
With good
Snipes.
accents. No, not Wesley Snipes. I went for Stephen Graham.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's got. He's
For
got.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say Jim Carrey there.
If he turns, I'm sure he could do an Irish.
Oh,
accent.
I'm sure.
He's
Oh,
a
yeah.
very
I'm sure
capable
he
actor.
could.
He's
Absolutely.
very good, and I thought he'd do a mad Wild West drunk. Absolutely
Yeah, he
class.
looked.
Give him a mad beard.
He definitely looks like he should be in the Wild West. To be fair.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I went completely different with mine. Than I didn't. He's not been in many funny roles, but you know what it is. I think he could do it. Gabriel Byrne. I think
You
with
love
the
Gabriel Byrne, don't you?
with the right script, I think you could definitely do it.
What
Like
was again?
Gabriel Byrne from
Hereditary,
Hereditary.
End of Days,
End of Days.
Stigmata.
Yeah.
Oh, him.
Yeah. Like yeah, he's quite a bit older.
Every few
I
weeks
think,
you're
as
going to have to
well.
explain to me who Gabriel Byrne is.
I mean, I've used him twice. I wouldn't say I loved him.
Once a month.
I've got a good relationship with him.
Who's next then? Is Nasta on that list?
Yeah.
Now this was the
Nasta is on the
character
list.
who I
That's totally struggled with this one.
I spent ages looking for this
I
one.
did not remember this character in the slightest. Did
Really?
not remember
No,
him.
He's
Yeah,
not. He's not
actually.
with you for long. The only part I remember him really being in is when you first go out into like where you go like up the mountains a bit.
Mm-hmm.
When you first go into that part, he's there to help you try and get Dutch Vanderland.
I was
It's
going
when
to
you
say.
first fight with him and he runs away.
Mm-hmm.
Nastus is there helping you.
I was going to say because when
Yes,
it said
I do
it,
remember that.
he apparently only joined for one mission, which
Yeah.
I'm going to guess is that one, to obviously near the end.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, as we do on Grand Prix Total, we like to cast. If we're going to cast a Native American, we try to find someone with a Native American blood, or at least I try to. So I went for Benjamin Bratt, who was he was the male lead in the Catwoman film, and if you saw Doctor Strange, he was the guy who he goes to speak to when he's playing basketball.
God, no.
So he's a known actor. He's just
It's
not,
hard though, isn't
he's
it?
never a star.
It's hard for Native American actors.
It's very difficult because
That the only one that I really know who's of the right age and actor now is the guy I cast last time. I thought, well, I can't do that again.
was it West Studi?
No, I cast him this time though.
Yeah.
But no, it was that guy from Fargo 2 I did last time.
Yeah.
Fargo season 2.
Oh yeah, that's right.
yes, yeah, of
But I
course.
thought I can't put him in.
Yeah, I feel like there's only
But I
about,
thought that this character, I mean, West Studi's obviously old.
yeah,
but
you could
This,
still
I don't
do
think
it.
that character's old, but you can do it as well.
Yeah, of course he could.
Yeah, so obviously.
And he's good, and I realise he's still acting because he was in that Penny Dreadful, wasn't he?
Yes, of course. So I yeah, like you say, try to keep respectful. You try to keep
We
to
do.
the Native American.
Hmm.
Obviously, I went for Vin Diesel.
Of course.
No, I didn't. I didn't really.
He's covered in Native American blood.
I went for Arthur Red Cloud, who has a class name, and he's in The Revenant. He actually plays one.
Oh,
of the main
fantastic.
villains.
Cool.
Oh god, I love the Reverend.
I've seen it once, I don't need to see it again.
I've seen it 3 times and I probably want to see it again.
I've seen it twice. Like
It really doesn't seem like your kind of movie, Dan.
It's
A good one.
No, it's one of. It's exactly my kind of movie. It's a western. What are you talking about? It's a western with because I love like westerns that are like in the snowy mountains as well.
Yeah.
If you get that, if you get both of them, I love it.
Mm.
That's why I tried to watch that Jason
Kind
Momoa
of way to
one.
put his coat on and Red Dead 2, can he?
Oh, I can't wait.
Go straight on. As soon as
I'm gonna-
possible.
I'm
gonna-
putting trousers in.
Does he sweat and stuff when you put the coat on when he's out in the sun?
I
Does
don't
it
know.
get too hot?
You might.
Do you
Oh,
think?
oh god.
That
Oh
would be
god.
cool.
Stamina
only-
goes down quicker.
Yeah.
I think there definitely would be something if you would put loads of layers on and then end up going into whatever Blackwater during the middle of the heat, you probably would run slower because you'd have too many layers on.
Yeah.
Oh god, I wish I worked at Rockstar.
So many possibilities, man. So many possibilities. So after Nasta,
Nasta, who's next?
Abigail.
Let's go for Abigail.
Abigail's his wife.
Yep.
Yeah.
I went for Ruth Wilson because she's the spitting image of the drawing.
Before, Abigail was originally a prostitute, wasn't she? Who
Yes.
hung around with a gang a lot.
Yeah, and he basically
But I'm sure
takes her away from all that.
But she slept with all of the gang members pretty much.
Yeah.
Because
Which
she was a
is
prostitute.
which obviously they keep on bringing up in front of
Yes,
him to
yeah.
try and belittle him.
No,
kind of.
I believe that's how prostitution works. Am I right in thinking that?
So in exchange for money,
We're now watching footage of John Marston wearing a top hat, like
But
Nigel
then-
West
but
Dickens.
then he gets her pregnant, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And they
And then it's like,
Right.
and then he's like, that's why I thought it was a thing of like, he was like, I now want to be out of the game, and they were like, if you want to be out of the game, you have to do so many jobs
Mhm.
and make us so much money before you can leave.
which is how prostitution works. So who did you go for? Sorry,
Ruth Wilson,
Ruth. Oh
which
yeah,
is the
yeah.
spitting image of the drone.
She is. She's a good shout actually.
I'll cast someone a little bit older, a little bit like looks a bit different, I guess, and who can do a bit more of the. You could see her hanging around with the gang, like she's a little bit hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I went for Carrie Ann Moss, who played
Oh god, I.
Trinity in the
Yeah.
Matrix.
Of course.
Who's great, and you don't see her, didn't you?
She's in Daredevil. She plays a lawyer in Daredevil.
The TV show, the Netflix one.
Yeah. She was in something else as well. I don't know what. I feel like she was in like. I think she was in like. No. She's she plays a cop in The Bye Bye Man.
I also think she'd be good with the John Marston that I've cast.
Yeah.
And Jack.
Oh God. It's Lawrence Fishburne as John Marston.
Well, I went for one strong female character. Mentioned it earlier. Lena Headey.
Oh yeah.
Yes, very good.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then
think I cast Carrie Ann and then saw her and thought, yeah, she'd be good as well, but didn't change it. But yeah, she's great, really good.
shall we do Jack Marston
Jack
quickly,
Marston,
and then
yeah.
we'll take.
I like my Jack Marston.
We haven't do Drew McFarlane as well.
Oh yeah,
actually.
we'll just take a quick break after we do Jack.
Because he could be part of the major allies, surely. He could be part of, you could do him with Bonnie McFarlane.
Bonnie Bobby.
BM.
Bobby. So we're doing Jack then.
Jack.
Thank you for making as much noise drinking as you could. We always appreciate that noise.
I like my Jack right because the guy I've cast can probably play him younger and older because he's of that age where you could probably do both.
Yeah.
And I cast Tom Holland.
Good.
Spider-Man Tom Holland.
I like it.
It's good, that, isn't it?
I
think that's... Did you?
Yeah, I did as well.
I went for Jack
It's
Houston.
perfect, I think.
I went for Jack Houston
Jack Houston.
because he looked a lot like the older version.
Who's Jack Houston?
You'll definitely know the face. Was he in Boardwalk Empire? Was that his big thing?
Who was he in that? I watched a lot of that. By a lot, I mean all of it.
by that I mean most. It's Angelica Houston's son.
All right.
Him! He's Angelica
So obviously
Houston's son.
He's Jack Houston.
So obviously you're looking for.
And?
So obviously you're doing this is older.
Yeah, I just cast old man, like the guy who comes back and
Who
shoots
you
people
play
in the head.
Who plays the guy with half the face in Boardwalk?
That's it. That's it. That's what he did.
Ah.
He was a mad character.
I
him.
wanted to say that, but then I wasn't pretty sure if it was him.
Yeah. I mean the thing is though that's going quite old there because I think even when Jack comes back, it's only meant to be like 4 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
he seems young then as well.
Yeah.
So I think Tom Holland wins it.
I would be well, yeah. There's not very many. Just because he looked so much like the picture, because that's got the little bit mustache and stuff as well.
He does because he did at one point he does have the perfect mustache.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's only 3 years later because I wouldn't have. It's interesting to think that he was obviously like a little boy, and then he's like. I thought it was
He's still very young when you play him though.
Yeah, I thought it would.
He was meant to be 15, 16 when he's younger, and then he's meant to be 19.
See, I thought it was like more like 10 years in the future, but I probably missed that it was. Well, obviously missed that it was 3, even though I read it out.
Yeah.
So at Abigail, Jack, who should we do next?
Should have had that prepared really.
Drew McFarlane.
Drew McFarlane. Now I'm very
Is
happy.
he the last on this list?
He's the last on the minor allies.
Yeah, I love my Drew McFarlane.
I like mine as well. An actor who hasn't done a lot. I think he's got a TV show where he's like one of the leads. But other than that, I think he hasn't done a lot for a while. But Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The tash.
He's still got the stash of this day.
That's what my cast member doesn't have. I knew that I wanted to do this guy for that character, and then I looked at the image again and thought, it doesn't really suit it. But when you read about him, he's had loads of kids on that farm, and he's got one left. He's a wise old man, and he basically.
Yeah.
So I cast John Goodman.
Are you joking?
Did you cast John Goodman?
I cast John Goodman.
Yeah.
That's so mad though. I was thinking that's such a random choice. Is what I thought. And
I don't think he's
nobody else is going to thought of this. Is what I thought.
Was your main thought that'd be because he played the dad in Coyote Ugly?
No, I haven't even seen it.
No, he's just a loud.
I really wanted to get him in.
He's a loud, old, wise American guy.
I think he's a great actor.
He is a great actor.
Has he ever been in a western? I know he's in Oh Brother Where Art Thou, which isn't really a western. It's a similar sort of period, but
Yeah, he was.
He would suit it. He would
really suit it,
especially
I wonder if he's got a mustache.
like a farm owner with, he's had many years working on it and got fat.
That sounds, but yeah, John Goodman obviously would be good in that role.
really
Two
good.
people thought of him.
Who's next then?
Lee Johnson.
Oh, Lee Johnson. Now I picked someone who is perfect for the role, but probably is too old. Tommy Lee Jones.
Very good.
Right.
Very good.
Oh, by the way, actually, after we've done this, I've went straight to the minor allies, but I haven't done the FBI yet.
All right,
so
okay.
after we've done Lee Johnson, maybe go to the FBI.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Dave, do you want to go with your?
Well, we had the same thought. I thought we might have the same guy, but I went for Clint Eastwood.
Right.
Oh yes, 100. Yes, that's great. I love that.
Well, I went for Kurt Russell because I wanted to get him in there, and I got him in there.
Yeah,
I'll admit now, right? I had Kurt Russell in for almost every role, and I had to take him out, and he's not made it because I thought
Even the Mexicans.
everyone's going to expect him, Dave. Just don't put him in.
Yeah.
But I might. If there's a particular guy, if you've got the guy I've got, I'm going to swap.
I just
Kurt
really,
Russell.
I'm
Still
really-
he's on my subs bench.
He's got to
like,
have the mustache from
he's
Hateful
ready.
Eight.
Yeah.
He's in all the costumes, ready to come on.
Hateful Eight slash.
If I change your mind at any point, he's getting in there.
He's got exactly the same Tash like beard combo in Bone Tomahawk as well.
And he's
Oh, yes,
so
that's right,
good.
yeah.
Why isn't he in every part?
And which is what I've needed to get him in here. I really, really wanted him in there, especially with us watching Escape from New York and Escape from LA recently as well. I was like, yeah, he needs to be in this film. Like,
He does.
simple as. So yeah, Lee Johnson, Kurt Russell.
Happy days. Happy days.
The reason I wanted to move to that, the thing that reminded us of FBI, and I wanted to go back to it now, is because as Edgar Ross, I've got Tommy Lee Jones.
Fantastic.
I think he'd be a good FBI guy.
Yeah,
Like a similar kind of thing that he does in Men in
He's
Black.
like the same character from The Fugitive, but like
Yeah.
I love
40
Tommy Lee
years
Jones.
older.
Tommy Lee Jones is great, and
He's really
in
good.
No Country for Old Men, he suited that
Mhm.
West kind of brilliant. So good.
I went for I looked at pictures of Edgar Ross and I saw him as like
Oh,
a
is that what we're doing now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine Tommy Lee Jones with the Tash though. It would work well as an Edgar Ross, I think.
I went for I just saw like the whitest, baldest guy with a mustache, and I was like, who's the whitest, baldest man I can think of? Bruce Willis. For a small
Yeah,
role,
good.
he'd probably
Yeah.
nail it.
Good. It's quite a big role though. It's got a
Yeah, it's juicy.
Yeah, man, he's
juicy.
almost like apart from Dutch, he's like the main villain.
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
isn't he?
he is. Yeah, and
Comes-
he comes up a few times, doesn't he?
Like
Yeah.
him coming back like later in life
Yeah.
and like as like the
He
true
actually-
villain.
He joins you on your missions as well as you being against
Yeah.
him as well, so he does play a big part. Like,
And he's a bit more well dressed, isn't he?
Yeah.
Than the other ones. He's one of the ones that I had Kurt Russell in for a few parts and had to take him out. I thought you can't put him in, Dave, but you want him anyway. He's one of them, but I changed it to Ed Harris.
Yes.
yeah.
No, again,
Brilliant.
he was in Appaloosa with
Love Ed
Viggo
Harris, he's
Mortensen.
great.
Yeah. So what I'm loving about this casting so far for this game is that I don't think there's been any bad choices because there's so many good
It's
possibilities.
just
that
it's
can come from it.
it's just like there's so much love in the room for this
Yeah,
game
yeah.
that when we're doing like Silent Hill, it's like, what did you just say?
It's like, right, my next one, right? I love it.
Oh, it's so good. I'd cast Patrick Wilson in every role.
I'm just kind of feeling a little bit guilty to Kurt Russell.
Yeah, he's an official apology to Kurt
He's
Russell.
he's in, I've got him in there.
Just so everyone knows, he's in my heart.
I'm going to tell you right now, Kurt Russell is not in my list either.
Is he in there?
I went out of my way to make sure.
Well, Brett's doing it.
Kurt Russell would have been Lee Johnson,
I could have had him as
Yeah.
anybody.
but I went for Tommy.
I've got him as Lee Johnson.
So
But-
the other agent,
FBI
Agent
guy.
Fordham,
Yeah.
I went for another guy. I wanted another white guy who is like slimy and gross, and we all know that a slimy white gross guy is Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart, right?
So I wanted a guy who was almost like a lawyer,
I wanted a sidekick to Ed Harris because he's the deputy.
Yeah,
but
he's
I
the
wanted like
deputy,
a kind of mean, slimy sidekick.
Yeah.
That's
So-
what I went for. Mine to Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went for Jackie Earl Haley.
Oh yeah, he's super slimy.
Yeah. And he's very good and like twisted, isn't he?
Yeah.
His characters he's played.
But Haley
yes,
would be
yes.
good as Ross as well. You could
Yeah.
you could.
I
swap
actually
him.
nearly had him as Seth.
Oh yeah, he'd be good as Seth as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's mainly just because of his weird looks. To be honest.
Nope, and there's a cat involved.
Hi, Cat.
Hello. But yeah, I went for the sidekick kind of thing as well. I thought a good sidekick, Tommy Lee Jones, like almost like could almost be like a Man in Black kind of dynamic. Matthew McConaughey, I put as Archer for him.
He was on my list, man. Of
Yeah.
people I wanted to get in, I couldn't fit him in.
Yeah, that's another
But
person
he's
I've got in
great.
there.
For that world, he'd be great.
Yeah, I think it would be a good slimy FBI
Definitely.
guy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I can feel my throat closing.
Why did? Why would that be?
Why?
I swallowed one of your cats.
There's a cat in the room.
Right.
Okay. For out there.
Okay,
Now
so
I know.
I took some antihistamines because I knew there was cats here.
Are you listening?
It's happening.
Yeah, let's not do it here again. To both of this.
I feel totally fine on Joe.
Yeah. No, but I did take antihistamines. I'm just
Where
worried.
we're going next?
I'm just worried that this cat's gonna like turn off the recording,
She's really enjoying it. Look at that. What's he watching?
staring at the soundbar as it goes by.
Don't be afraid to just push her if you need
I'm
to.
terrified to push her.
So we're doing Nigel West Dickens next.
Oh, Nigel West Dickens.
Nigel West Dickens.
Now this one is for me, fantastic casting. It's absolutely spot on, and I found a picture of the guy with like a crazy mustache, Jim Broadbent.
Oh, really?
I love Jim Broadbent.
Oh, that would be good, man. Actually,
Moustache.
He has a crazy mustache in something. I don't know what it is. But a quick search of a Jim Broadbent mustache probably will bring it up.
We were just talking about him when you were having a little break.
Oh, thank you.
He's
Oh, hello, Cat.
one of the only characters you could get a bit of comic relief in there. Do you not think?
That is Nigel West Dickens.
Totally.
oh yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah,
He's hilarious as well.
Either Nigel West Dickens or Colonel Sanders.
Or
Either
this
of
guy.
those.
That's a mustache and a half.
I didn't cast that old for him.
No.
I wanted to because
I
it said
did.
he was very smartly dressed. You know, businessman, but he's a salesman.
Yeah.
Gift of the gab and all that bollocks.
For me, for Jim Broadbent, just to cut you off, would be just play the same role as he did in Moulin Rouge. Just like crazy, like, woo!
For God's sake.
You don't see Moulin Rouge?
Don't like musicals.
Oh, okay,
Don't
fair
like
enough. Fair enough.
At least I'm
Come up already.
consistent. A Brett.
A Brett.
So I cast Christoph Waltz.
Nice, awesome. That's good.
I forgot for a hot minute who we're casting.
Nigel
West Dickens, that's right.
Dickens.
Yeah, he would be good.
Well, I focused on the funny side of it, like yourself, the comic relief aspect of it. I went for Steve Martin.
Steve
Wow.
Martin.
Yeah,
I love Steve Martin, but I haven't seen him in anything for a long time.
yeah.
But I do love Steve Martin. I think he's great.
I think he'd be good as him, man. Like just being the
Is he old now?
kind of slightly lying git.
Yeah, he's got to be in his 70s now.
Yeah,
isn't
he is
Steve
pretty
Martin?
old. I actually had Chevy Chase in there at first, which I think might have actually been better.
I don't think I've ever been. Not that I've never been a fan of Steve Martin, but his films have never crossed paths. Like I've never seen them.
Yeah.
But
What
never.
about Bowfinger?
What about Three Amigos?
No.
Oh yeah,
What?
three. You'd be perfect for that. We should have the Three Amigos. Should
I
have
don't
been in this
think I've
cast.
seen any of these films.
That's why I thought of Chevy Chase originally, and actually I'm going to go back to Chevy
Oh
Chase.
no, didn't he do the Pink Panther?
Oh yeah, he did the Pink
The
Panther.
Dan Burger.
I would like to buy Dan Burger.
Have you ever seen The Loser?
No.
That's so good, that film, The Loser. It's one of his like early films when he's good, you know, before he started to be a
Before
bit
he
like
did
Hollywood
Hamburger.
and a bit crappy.
Right.
Three Amigos and The Loser, two great Steve Martin.
I watched Bowfinger with my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, I don't know what's happening in this film.
It is a bit of a mad film for being a 90s film as well. Like, it, you know, don't really know.
I also watched Oh Brother Where Art Thou with my dad, and he was like, oh, they said Woolworths. That was his only comment in the whole film. Woolworths.
Your dad is such a dad. Isn't he?
He is. Really
And
is.
then he walks around, and then
If I ever had to cast dad, I'd cast your dad.
and then now he says like Dapper Dan. He goes, I'm a Dapper Dan man. But he doesn't use hair gel, so he just walks around saying it.
Great.
What a stupid guy.
So yeah, like Chevy Chase is my choice.
I do like all the casters we've had for that.
Tune of this podcast, Brett.
Yeah, and
So who's next? Should we do? Are we doing? Is
Bonnie?
Bonnie? I might have got this one wrong. I think I probably went a little too old. Although I'm sure she could still do it, but I think I went too old. I went for Uma Thurman,
Alright.
but I think she's supposed to be much younger.
Yeah, I think she is. Uma Thurman's very good.
How old is she meant to be? Man? I don't
Well,
think she's meant to be that old.
She's supposed to have.
I don't think she is.
Her husband's definitely died, and then she gets remarried.
Right.
But I think Uma Thurman's. I
Yeah,
don't
but this is
know.
the Wild West we're talking about. They could have been
Yeah,
married
it
at
could
30.
be. She would probably be good. She would definitely be good in the role, but I just think maybe I should have went younger.
Mm.
Because I think she would probably be the right age to go with my John Marston. So it's like, if she was much younger, then it would be a bit more. That's why John
Do
was.
they have a relationship like them too?
No, not at all. Because John's
Yeah.
devoted to his family. So
So what do you mean?
because if they were the same age, then it's like it's if she was much younger, then it plays more of like a like she's got lovey-dovey eyes for him because he's an older man or something like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
So who did you go?
Uma Thurman.
All with you said. So get to the point.
That's Boomer Thurman.
I went for Viva Farmiga.
Mm-hmm.
Help again?
From
Conjuring.
Conjuring
Jesus.
and from The Commuter.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's good.
The Departed. She's the girl in Departed.
She's, yeah,
Yes.
strong female lead.
Certainly
isn't
is. Yeah,
Very, very good.
absolutely, Yeah.
And that's exactly why I went for Elizabeth Moss.
Cool.
Which is brilliant.
Yeah, she is good. Definitely. Nice one. So we've only got the two main guys left.
No, we haven't.
With the gang.
We've got the gang.
Oh, I've got the gang, man. We shouldn't have done this in such a weird order.
Well, we've got
Oh, no,
the way
hang
I
on.
wanted to leave
Wait,
it was-
stop, guys. Landon Ricketts.
Adam Ricketts. I haven't even got him on my list.
He's not on my list.
You didn't put him on the list, man.
Oh, it's
Obviously, the
Tell
thing
us
is,
what
I
he
was
is.
going to mention Landon Ricketts because
Who is he?
obviously I know the
yeah.
there's only one choice for Landon Ricketts because he's basically based on him.
It's definitely the he's a old lawman now retired.
He meets him in Mexico.
And he just looks after that small town.
Kurt Russell.
No, well,
He's in.
Long white hair, big white mustache.
You could until you hear what he sounds like and looks like, and then there's only one person that comes up.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
He looks like Sam Elliott.
I was going to mention that you hadn't put him in there because he's so easy to cast.
I must have forgot to copy and paste it over because he's on mine.
Yeah.
But mine's in a totally different order to yours, so.
Oh, him.
Yeah, he's in the Big Lebowski and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
He literally sounds and looks exactly like him.
Yeah, he's
I will respect your choice to use Kurt Russell.
he's my sub's been used.
So that leaves Bill Williamson as the first listed name on the.
This was another obvious Kurt Russell shout.
Yep.
Mm.
Well,
But he didn't.
So
So.
I didn't.
I saw the
I
picture
went
of
for
him
someone else who
as
was
like
also great.
big beard, dishevelled hair, and I was like, I was trying to think of someone who was like looked like he'd lived. It looked like he'd lived tough. So I went for Michael Biehn
Michael Bay.
from Aliens and Terminator 1.
Michael Bay.
Michael Biehn. You'll know the face when you see it.
Kyle Reese.
That's right.
Is he still acting?
Oh, hi.
Let me see now.
Let me see now.
Is that him, is it?
That's not him. Show Dan him.
That's not him.
like an old Jewish physiotherapist or something.
Have I done the wrong spelling of Bane? I can't find the guy.
Biehn.
Right.
Did you put Bane as in like Tom Hardy's Bane?
I put two different Banes. I put Bain as well.
Was he in Planet Terror?
Yes.
For him.
Yeah, Michael Biehn. Give him a bit beard that his hair.
I loved him.
was
Well, I was
squiggly.
talking about him yesterday with Jess, like, because he was. I loved him when I was little because his character in Aliens is so fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then he disappeared.
Well, he was supposed to come back for Alien 5, but Ridley Scott wanted to do Prometheus.
I actually don't think that's very good casting. I don't think he's good enough.
Well,
I don't think he's big enough. I wanted
he's definitely not big enough,
because
yeah.
of there's the three main gang members. Dutch.
Javier and Bill.
Yeah, so I wanted a trifecta of like
Yeah, that was
top class.
That was my first
Villain-
thought, and
villainous
then
actors.
when I saw the picture, I was like, I just want someone who's really scruffy. I want a monster of a human.
I cast big for these three roles.
Yeah, and
Really
as
good,
as
really
rightly
good.
you should have.
I did cast pretty big for Bill Williamson, Josh Brolin.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
And I went for Jeff Bridges.
Oh, Jeff
Yeah.
Bridges.
I will say by the way
I
as
wanted
well.
to get Josh in, but I didn't get Josh.
I had Jeff Bridges in as Lee Johnson for quite a while before I turned
Oh
Kurt
yeah,
Russell.
for sure. That would
Yeah.
definitely.
He would have been perfect.
That's
But
the-
I thought, as much as I want Jeff Bridges in this, I want Kurt Russell in it even more.
But Jeff Bridges played that character in R.I.P.D. He played like
Yeah.
that, the cowboy.
Except that he played a bit stupid there. I
Yeah, he
don't
played-
want him to be.
I
funny.
want him to
As a
play
good
it like True Grit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah.
So Javier,
Again, I
Escuela.
cast big, and I'm thinking about the three together.
I went for Antonio Banderas.
Did you?
Did you really?
Yes.
Nice.
I went for Benicio del Toro,
Mm-hmm.
Oh really?
which we kind of
Yeah.
swapped all
Nice
around.
one. It's the guy I used last week, Damien Bichir.
Oh yes, he
Yeah.
was the
Yeah, very
he was the first person who came up on my list.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get Banderas in there.
good. Me too.
And then Dutch. Now
I love my Dutch.
That's shy.
I
Yeah.
tried to go off piste with my Dutch. I wanted a super, an A-list, a superstar, but I didn't want to go for the obvious.
I went
Ones.
for the
But I thought like
others.
sort
To
of.
me, anyway.
I don't know. It's either like it would either work really well or it would totally miss the mark. So my first thought was obviously Ian McShane, but then I rolled that back and I was like, well, I want him still to be. I don't want like a 70-year-old man going up against a 40-year-old John Marston. So I went for someone who would probably like I don't know, just fucking say it, George Clooney.
Oh yeah.
I threw not for this, but I threw him around thinking he'd be good in this.
I just
so,
thought he would-
some way he'd be good
Because
in this.
you're like a charismatic and like someone who you're like, surely this isn't the monster everyone's been talking about. He just
Yeah.
seems like a really like cool guy.
Yeah.
But then he's actually like a monster total man.
I found for a kind of a similar attitude
Me too.
in terms of the like really likable guy, because that kind of is what Dutch is.
Yeah.
He's respectable.
Well, he's the dad of the group.
Yeah.
He looked after everybody. The gang was called the Sons of Dutch.
And he's got a wicked tash, which is why I went for Tom Selleck.
Oh,
No way.
that's very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That would be
Well,
good.
I went with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh,
From-
Oh yeah,
Gangs
I
of
did
New York.
think of him, man.
I thought it'd
course.
be insanely perfect for it. Just
Totally.
basically that role again.
He would be perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's worshipped in that,
Mm.
but he's a total villain.
You know, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
the only reason I didn't actually end up on him is because he said that he's retiring from
Yeah,
acting.
I want
Okay.
But still,
But
it shouldn't matter. You know,
100%.
but
That's
this
the only reason I didn't cast him
Yeah.
as well, because I know in real life he's totally
But
retired.
it shouldn't be the case.
Yeah,
Nobody's
but,
like,
but he said he was retired and then he did that film with.
The Phantom Thread or something.
Yeah,
Is
keep
it the
up for
Phantom
that.
Thread? There's a cat on me now.
But
this is
think
sorry.
about those three together: Jeff Bridges, Benicio del Toro, and Daniel Day-Lewis.
So good.
That
That
is
would
a
be
gang.
good, yeah.
That is a gang to reckon with, isn't it?
And then who? But the real question is, who is the person that you've got murdering all three of those men? Which is the person
This
that
is
you
the
said?
hardest one.
This is
to
the
do.
guy
yeah.
who.
And I threw around too many.
I went through loads and loads of people, but then the one I ended up on like kind of clicked in my head, and I was like, yeah,
I agree. I went through so many people, and then I went, who do I want? Who is an actor of the caliber that could do the role and still give it like an Oscar-worthy performance? My first thought was Josh Brolin, but then I was like, well, he's kind of already done the role.
yeah.
After all, he was also Jonah Hex. Let's not forget. So I went for someone who I don't think's done a western, but probably should. Matthew McConaughey,
Ah,
top level actor, has
Has he not?
the drawl.
Has he not done a West?
Probably would have the kind of look of it. He's not like a muscly guy. He's kind of weedy,
Mm.
and you could see him being like, maybe he was like not always like, oh, let's kill everyone. He was more like, I kind of don't want to blow everyone away.
I love Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, he's
Very
great.
good.
He's great. Yeah, that would work absolutely.
I thought it just
It never, like I say, I had him in the list of wanting to get him in. He never crossed my mind for John Marston.
No.
because he didn't at all for me until I was just like,
But
I
I mean,
wanted to
you are right. Now you've said it, you could definitely.
I wanted to find someone who wasn't the obvious one, and again, like we've as we've mentioned, all the obvious ones are in other roles and stuff like that. But and so they should be, because this is the ultimate western, so they should be in there.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely, good choice.
Let me go.
Go for it.
I put this guy in because he was the top of the long list of people I had with a question mark, and slowly he just settled in, and I thought, right, I'm going to have him in there. And I put someone who can. Yeah, I wanted him to be a bit more of a hero type, but I also wanted him to be able to pull off the dirty and wrong side that John Marston has, and I went with Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dave, man.
yeah.
Okay.
We've had a lot of same choices today, but yeah, that's one that I never thought anyone was going to say here.
Really,
Viggo Mortensen, yeah.
he'd be brilliant though.
Yeah, he
See,
would,
I
man.
probably wouldn't have thought of Viggo Mortensen, but I saw him in Appaloosa, so
Yeah.
that's when I was like, "There's a cat right on this microphone.
That was a weird thing to say.
How am I going to cut that out? I was going to leave that one in." But yeah, Viggo Mortensen was in Appaloosa. He was absolutely great in that because he was Ed Harris's like
Yep.
deputy
Yeah.
thing. I thought they would have a really good rapport. Another person who was on and off the list, not a fantastic actor, but like just someone who kind of fits a few of the roles. Ethan Hawke with his bit mustache.
Nah,
He
no,
sort of.
I don't like him, man.
I don't really like him either, but he kind of looks. He has that like old west look.
You know, if I was going to cast him as anyone, it would have been Harold.
And there's someone else. There's another guy. I forget his name, but there's like another guy who's always. I'll just try and find it.
I mean, with John, it's like you have to cast Biggie's the lead. So you obviously throw Tom Hardy around, you throw Michael
Yeah.
Fassbender around, but then I wanted someone a bit less obvious, I suppose,
this guy.
who's as good.
Oh, as my phone decides not to load quickly.
What's his name, sir?
John Hawkes.
Yeah, he was on my list.
Like
somewhere.
he's like
he's
got
great. He's
total
great for the
look.
world, but he's not. He's not.
Oh, he's not
John
Marston. No way.
No,
But he's
Yeah,
definitely like.
mate, he's on my list down here. Do you will I show you the remainder of my
you
list?
give us the rest of your list of people who could possibly turn up.
It's a question I have.
Do you want that?
Yes.
All right. Well, I had
Why have you grabbed the cushion?
Sean Harris was in there.
Yes.
Throwing him around. Steve
McDo-
Buscemi was in there.
Oh, of
throwing him
course.
around.
Yes.
Matthew
of course.
McConaughey.
Yes.
John Turturro.
Yes.
Ah.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah. Of course, obviously.
Hugo Weaving.
I wanted Danny Trejo as well, but there was none of them
And,
next to
who
him
are you
fit
thinking
with
for
it at all.
Weaving?
I thought maybe Ross.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Actually, you know,
It's good,
Trejo
isn't he?
could have been
Yeah.
a square.
Yeah, he could have. Definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I had that John Hawkes.
Yeah.
And that was me trying to get. I couldn't get them in.
So we'll have to do like a Red Dead.
That was so fun to cast, man. Like,
Yeah.
Red Dead 2, you mean?
We'll have to do Red Dead 2 and Red Dead 1 both as one big film, and then all the characters. Imagine Dutch's gang just full of like Kurt Russell.
I think we're jumping ahead here. Red Dead 2.
Red
Ted 2 could be absolute shite for all we know.
oh, shit. Oh, I hope
definitely.
we can agree on it.
I know that I'm talking shite when I say that. You know what I mean?
If name what's the worst Rockstar game?
Table tennis?
Table tennis,
Exactly. So now take that away and think of what's the worst like story based game.
What's the Rockstar game?
You know what I mean?
Wasn't State of Emergency Rockstar?
GTA 4.
Yeah, that State of Emergency was, but I wouldn't consider it to be like a heavy story.
Yeah,
but you're right.
yeah.
That probably is their worst game, but it's still a totally fun game to game.
Yeah, I mean, but you've got to you struggle to find it. And Rockstar have got a lot of games, man, and but yeah, I think that's probably it. Basically everything they churn out is gold.
Yeah, because I've said it before, but the one big thing they always say was that no one puts any limits of time on Rockstar. They take as long as they want to take.
Yeah.
So
that's why you know it's polished and ready.
Exactly.
It's not Assassin's Creed.
That's why they don't like. Therethere's no chance of a delay for Red Dead 2 because they already have delayed it before because they knew it's not going to be ready at this point, and that's what they do. They just be like, this is when it's going to be ready, and we're not going to release it until it's totally polished. Like, and the only reason why they're not doing Red Dead 2 online straight away is so that they don't have the problems that GTA 5 online had.
Yeah.
I'm even more excited to play it now that we've just done this podcast and recapped everything because I've got a terrible memory, so I forget. Hence not knowing who anyone is all the time. But now, sitting watching this playthrough while doing this and talking about all the characters and the story, I'm absolutely buzzing for it.
Yeah.
Even more than I was.
Once my Game Pass has run out, I've got probably about a 5 or 6 day period in between. I'm not going to do the Burger King thing yet. I'm going to wait for 5 or 6 days in between the Game Pass running out and Red Dead 2. I'm going to fill that gap with Red Dead 1 just so I can be refreshed with the story and also can compare how much better the second one's going to be than the first as well.
Be interested to hear what you say about that, mate.
Mm-hmm.
All right then. So depending on when we can record next, will dictate what we do next. So if it's going to be early next week, so for argument's sake, if we record not next week, the week after, week of the 22nd. If we record early in the week, then we'll do Dead Space. If we record late in the week, we'll do the Halloween show. Because then obviously we can do the Halloween show the following week.
Yeah.
And yeah, so either Dead Space or a Halloween Spooktacular.
Which I'm very much looking forward to.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's a whole lot of quizzes and like I said, we got some different.
So there's no actual source subject on this one.
No. So the Halloween one is there's questions about horror films, Halloween in general, and then just some general knowledge as well.
Everyone's going to know how thick I am, aren't they?
but it's very much with a twist. So there's no they're like very silly questions that have very silly answers. So I thought it would kind of be perfect for you guys because
couple of idiots.
Couple of clowns, couple of class clowns,
Couple of tomfools.
So so either that'll be the next. So one of those two will be up. We'll put something up online about what's going to happen. But for now, that is us all done with Red Dead.
Sound.
And
Good.
So we'll see you when we next see you, I guess.
It's been emotional.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Grand Pitch Thought So. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check out our other castings on games like The Last of Us, Silent Hill, and Resident Evil. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or wherever it is you download your podcasts from. And feel free to get in touch with us on Instagram and Twitter at JPTSPod and on Facebook at Grand Pitch Thought So. This podcast is produced and edited by Dan Hewitt. Grand Pitch Thought So is not affiliated with the motion pictures or video games reviewed or mentioned in any of the episodes. All movie clips and music used in this podcast are the intellectual property of the respective copyright holders, and they are included here for the purpose of review, and no infringement is intended.